The following is yet another high school sports presentation brought to you by the high school sports leader in North Texas, 92.1 FM KXEZ, the Possum.
And we're coming to you from Williams Stadium in Garland, where we are set to bring you tonight's district matchup between the North Garland Raiders and your Rowlett Eagles. Hello, everyone, and welcome. You're listening to 92.1 FM KXEZ. I'm Ethan Herrera, along with my broadcast partner, Scott Powell. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, we have two teams fighting to stay alive in the playoff race from District 9 6A. The North Garland Raiders, who come in at 4-2 overall and 1-2 in district play, coming off a 42-34 loss to Saxe last week. And Rowlett, 1-5 overall, 1-2 in district, and they're coming out of a much-needed bye week. We'll hear from head coach for the Rowlett Eagles, Derek Alford, on the Rowlett Eagles We Will Win show, presented by Certified Foundation, when we continue our countdown to kickoff on 92.1 FM KXEZ. KXEZ. This is the Rowlett Eagles We Will Win show, presented by Certified Foundation, as part of KXEZ's countdown to kickoff. Here with us, of course, is the head coach of the Rowlett Eagles, Derek Alford. And coach, back-to-back district losses after last game against Wiley. Your offense moved the ball well with nearly 350 yards of offense, 14 first downs, and only 2 3-and-outs, if I'm not mistaken. But they couldn't really finish off drives. What exactly wasn't clicking in that regard last game?
It's just you're normal when you're not as disciplined as you need to be. You know, you jump off sides, you get off track, you have a negative play. Those kind of things we're not good enough to overcome, and we obviously as a staff hadn't done a good enough job of teaching our kids how to stay out of those situations. So I'd say that's the main thing.
Well, up to that, a few big plays were really the difference in last one, despite the end of the score, especially in the second quarter, where Wiley scored 3 touchdowns and a couple of big chunk plays on third down, third and shorts. Defensively, what do you do differently, and how do you keep those to a minimum, those big chunk plays?
You know, that's what's hurt us all year, big plays defensively. And I think it goes back to exactly the same reason we have a hard time finishing drives offensively. It's just our lack of focus and discipline at crucial times has come up big. And, you know, looking back on our season, most of the touchdowns that we've given up have been on third down or fourth down, and a lot of them have been long yardage, and we just, you know, haven't done a good enough job with the kids and hadn't been around them enough to get that across. So it's something we're working on every week, and we address it. Our kids have been great. 95% of our kids are, you know, they practice great, and they've had great attitudes, and so when you have that situation, that's a lot of times when you got to look in the mirror and say, as a coaching staff, what do we got to do different?
Right. Well, offensively, they moved the ball really well. 300 yards of total offense, 300-plus yards of total offense, like I mentioned. And the big exciting plays for y'all, for the offense side, Okolo did a nice job, again, behind the center, filling in. Again, at the start of the year, he wasn't the starter, and now he's in that role, accepting that role, and he's done a nice job, especially in those big, exciting plays. Again, I'll ask, what has helped other than just playing time? Is it work during practice? What has helped the Okolo and the offense?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. James has gotten better. You know, every play he gets better because he hadn't had a bunch of experience. I think he played quarterback some on the JV last year, but he doesn't have any varsity experience. So every time he gets to play on a Friday night or Thursday night, he's going to get better because he's a good athlete and he's a great teammate. You know, I'd be willing to say there's not a whole lot of kids on our team right now that care more about our team, not just himself, but he cares about our team than James. So I think that's a big reason why. And then another reason is our offensive line has gotten better every week. We were not in a good place early in the season, and Coach Farrell has done just an outstanding job of every week bringing them along. And what started off as by far our weak point has become one of our stronger points offensively, the offensive line.
Well, both James and that offensive line have done a fantastic job this season. This is the Rowlett Eagles We Will Win show presented by Certified Foundation as part of KXEZ's Countdown to Kickoff. Moving ahead to this week, Coach, coming off of a bye week, how important is this rest for your staff and your guys before they come back and try to get back in the playoff race?
No, it's very important. Always when you have an off week, it's time to look back at video and see what you really need to focus on. That first week we were off, we really focused on fundamentals, where your hand's supposed to be, where your eye's supposed to be, where your feet's supposed to be in your different techniques. So that was a big emphasis, and then we just carried it over into this week as far as practice into the actual game plan. So North Garland, extremely talented football team. They're young. They have a lot of sophomores. I think they had one of the best freshman classes last year in Garland ISD, and most of those kids are on the varsity now, sophomores. So Coach Castillo has been there a long time. He's done a great job. He loves kids. He's in this business the same reason I am, and we look forward to playing them. But at the same time, we have a lot of respect for them and the job they do over there.
Absolutely. They're also 1-2 in district play, just like you, this North Garland team, same record in district. And some say this is the season right here, this week. Winning out, or at least going 3-1 in the last 4 games for you, Coach, is pretty crucial in terms of playoff chances, playoff berths. Is that the mindset you and your staff are instilling in the players, or is this just, another game?
No, you're exactly right. It's everything. These seniors want to have a chance to play in the playoffs and do some of the things that are usually always done here at Rowlett. We've got to win 3 out of our next 4, and it all starts this week. This is the most important week of the season right now.
We had heard head coach Derek Alford for the Rowlett Eagles talk about how important this game is, and I'll bring in my broadcast partner, Scott Powell, to tell us a little bit more about these North Garland Raiders.
Well, yeah, let me give you some hope for tonight that Rowlett may have a decent chance of winning this game tonight. North Garland has a record of 4-2 right now, but they have not finished a season with a winning record more than twice in the last 17 years. Only 2 winning records in the last 17 years. Their last winning record was in 2018 when they went 6-4, but they did not make the playoffs that year. The last time North Garland went to the playoffs was in 2009 when they were 6-5 and finished 3rd in the district, and that was 12 years ago. Since 2009 till right now, their overall record is 25-87, including a district mark of 13-61. So Rowlett's chances have just gotten better over the last 2 minutes that I read that off to you. Now, when you look at North Garland offensively, or look at what they've done so far, they went 3-0 in non-district with wins over Irving, LD Bell, and Berkner. Naaman Forest, they lost big in the district opener, 40-14. They had a forfeit win because of COVID over Lakeview. And then, even though they lost to Saxe last week, very competitive game, 42-34. It was a close game the whole way. I talked to Red Barons, the Saxe head coach, this week. He was very impressed. He thinks this is the best North Garland team that they've had in a long time, especially at the quarterback position. He was very impressed with their quarterback. God's Power is his first name, and his last name is Nawahi. It's like Hawaii with a na on the front. Nawahi is his name, and he can run and throw the ball. He's a leading passer, of course. 56%, 155 yards a game, 777 total, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But he is the leading rusher on the team with 598 yards, 120 a game, 85 carries, 7 per carry, and 9 touchdowns. So he's accounted for 95. He and Davis have accounted for 95% of their running game. Jaden Davis is his name. He averages 66 yards a game. But in all, Nawahi is averaging 275 yards a game, running and passing combined, with 19 touchdowns. And again, according to Red Barons, he is the straw that stirs the North Garland drink. I mentioned Davis, their receivers, Isaiah De Leon, 15 for 261, 17.4, 3 touchdowns, by far their best average per catch. DeAndre Johnson, 14 for 176. DeCaris Taylor, 12 for 148. And then their possession receiver, Mateo Howard, he's tied for first on the team in receptions with 15, but only averaging 8.6, very much the possession receiver. Now, another reason to be optimistic for Rowlett tonight, listen to these numbers. The series between these two teams, while Rowlett's been really good the last 10 years, North Garland has not been good. Needless to say, Rowlett has dominated this series. Rowlett has won 14 of the last 17, including the last 11 straight games in this series. The last North Garland win was in 2009. During this 11-game winning streak, all the way back to 2010, only 2 games have been decided by less than 10 points. The average margin of victory for Rowlett during this streak has been 25 points per game, and Rowlett has averaged 37 points a game against North Garland since 2010. I like Rowlett's chances tonight if history means anything.
The only thing about Rowlett I'll say, and that needs to be said, is that it's injury really hurts. Injuries have hurt them throughout the year. Of course, Harris Boyd going down in week 2 against Plano. That's why James Okola has really taken over that starting position at quarterback. But Harris Boyd is out. Ernest Thomas is doubtful. I don't see him down there. We probably won't see him this game. Colton Yarbrough, the starting running back, is out, and the wide receiver who last game had 210 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving is out. That's Corey Kirkling. So 3 players that have been really their staple all season long so far are out.
Those are their first, second, and third leading receivers. So here's who we need to look for tonight to step up big. Now, Trey Long's had some catches, 5 for 76, 15.2 a catch. Xander McGallion's had 8 catches for 114 yards. These kids have played and contributed. Kingston Johnson has played a lot at running back. He's only got 20 carries on the year, but he averages 7.5 a carry on those 20 carries. So look for Kingston and Devontae Crow to try and power the running game. About ready for kickoff. North Garland, and they're all black uniforms, and they are the home team tonight.
They kick off out to the left side and going to go to the back of the end zone for a touchback to the 25-yard line. We'll see Rowlett take over, and James Okola, who has taken over that quarterback position this year, see how they go.
Rowlett in white jerseys with the maroon pants and white helmets. What a great weather night. The front has come through, folks. This is a Chamber of Commerce evening here in Garland. We've got about a 10 to 15 mile an hour breeze out of the north. It might even be almost cold by the time this game is over tonight. The first turn of the weather, and don't you know the kids are going to enjoy this weather tonight?
Well, fall is definitely in the air, and we're just about ready to go. First play from scrimmage, Okolo, middle of the field. 2 receivers on either side. He hands it up the middle, bouncing around. That's Devontae Crow, and he gets a couple on the play to the 27-yard line.
Don't forget, if you can't get us at 92.1, tell the out-of-town friends and family to go to TuneIn Radio and also KXEZ.com. You can hear us anywhere in the world. Thanks to our title sponsors tonight, Raising Cane's Certified Foundation, C3 Church. More in a moment.
Okolo takes it, quarterback keeper to the right side, the short side of the field, gets back to the line of scrimmage and knocked down hard. It'll be 3rd and 8 after that run.
Rest of our title sponsors tonight, Trophy Nissan, Belfiore Spa and Salon, North Texas Appliance, Chili Dietrich State Farm, and their strength in numbers join the Rowlett Chamber of Commerce today.
Officially a loss of 1 on the play. Kingston Johnson in at running back as 2 receivers go to the left side. From the right hash mark, 2 tight ends in the ball game. Quarterback keeper Okolo as a whole pushes up right at the line of scrimmage and will get officially to the 28-yard line. 3 and out coming for Rowlett on their first drive.
Yeah, and remember, the wind has just picked up a little bit, looking more like 20 miles an hour, almost a steady 10 to 15, and they're going to have to punt into this wind. Now, with a kid that's had a pretty good year, and he's really come on the last 2 to 3 games, our kicker, what's his name?
Jacob Martin.
Jacob Martin, yeah.
Jacob Martin's been fantastic.
This will test him here. And a return man who I'll tell you about in just a moment. This kid, DeCoris Taylor, has 143 punt return yards on the year. That's a lot nowadays of punt return yardage.
Spiral kick out to the left side. Not a great kick into the wind. Will get right past the 40-yard line and picks up at the 41, the Rowlett 41, that is. Not a great punt, and field position flipped around, or not really flipped around right there from Jacob Martin.
Only a 9-yard punt. He tried to angle it toward this near sideline and punted away from Taylor. It kind of went off the side of its own, but you could see the wind knock it down and also push it toward the sideline. And You can see it blowing the officials' legs out there, their pants, and it's going to be a factor. And North Garland's got that wind. It's starting at the 37 of Rowlett.
Hawaii and the quarterback in a shotgun. Bunch set with 2 tight ends in the ball game from the right hash mark. Hawaii hands this one off up the middle, but scooped up right there by the Rowlett defensive line. It's Ja'Cory Brown coming in and making a play.
Well, this kid's not going to get credit for the tackle, but Curtis Johnson is the one that interrupted the play. He hit the back the minute he took the handoff, almost brought him down on his own. He busted loose from that, but he slowed him up, killed the entire play, and his teammates made the tackle. But give Johnson all the credit.
Uba Anyam right there on the tackle as well, helping the tackle. Jaden Davis on that carry for North Garland. 2nd and 11. 2nd and 12 from the 39-yard line. Empty backfield for Hawaii. Godfire claps his hand, looks to the left, fires a screen pass, and hit hard. Coming in from the quarterback position, Tajay Labrera. Catch it. He got a reception, but lost a yard on the play. He's at the 40-yard line. It's 3rd and 13.
Well, Labrera should have been blocked, and missing the block over there was a fellow receiver, Gabe Harris. When you throw those quick little out screens like that, you've got to get a block from the other receivers over there. And Harris just completely missed Labrera, who almost took the head off of the receiver. It was one of the more violent hits we've seen.
Right, Jaden Davis, the running back. God-powered Hawaii in the shotgun now. Davis motions out to the right side with a couple of receivers. Strips and stacks out to the right side. Whistles come flying in, and a timeout called by head coach Derek Alford for Rowlett. And we'll take a quick 30 as well with them with 8:53 on the clock. 0-0 first quarter. 92.1 FM, KXEZ.
This is the Possum, 92.1 KXEZ. Farmersville, Dallas, and KXEZ.com.
Go see the friendly folks at North Texas Appliance in Rockwall. They're at 1535 East I-30 on that South Service Road. It's about a mile from the football stadium. That's where Ethan lives, and it's a great area there. Great place to get your appliances. You can call or go by. Call 972-771-0393. North Texas Appliance, longtime sponsor of high school athletics here on KXEZ.
There's the formation for God's Power in Hawaii. Play action, throws it to the far side on the wheel route, wide open, but he dropped it. Jaden Davis wide open down the left sideline on a wheel route and had an open space about 15 yards. Nobody near him for the end zone and just dropped the ball.
Boy, they ran the play to perfection except for the main part of the play, completing the pass. A wheel route, folks, is when you bring the running back out of the backfield and send him up the sideline. In other words, you kind of hide him, and nobody picked him up. He was well hidden because he was wide open. It was a deep play action fake, and the quarterback a good 15 yards behind the line when he threw it.
Punt team on for North Garland. This one's hit down at the 10-yard line, bouncing around and just into the end zone. Try to pin him inside, but couldn't quite get the feel on the punt for North Garland, and was Daniel Ortiz.
One of the things about punting with the wind is it's going to be really hard to kill it inside the 5 and 10-yard line. For the most part, it's always going to carry into that end zone. So in other words, you need to hit them high and have your coverage people get down there before the ball hits, or you're going to have no chance with the wind at your back. It's one of the negatives is having the wind.
James Acolo out there for the second drive for Rowlett with almost 3.5 minutes off the clock in the first quarter. It's scoreless. 2 receivers to the left side. They hand this one off to the running back, Kingston Johnson. Goes out to the left side. No, it was play action. And down goes James Acolo. A big loss on that play on first down. It's a loss of 7.
Probably sorry that he didn't keep it. Or probably sorry that he didn't hand it off to Johnson. Not a good sign, the offensive line allowing that much penetration on a play-action fake.
2nd and 17 from the 18-yard line. This time does hand it off to the left side. Johnson makes a man miss, gets outside, tries to get to the 20-yard line, and fails to do that. But a gain of 6 on the play to the 19.
Well, the key was there, he got a great block from his tight end on the corner over here. Gradinaru got the block on the corner that allowed him to turn it up the seam, face it up, and get a nice gain around left end. Unfortunately, all he did was get back to 7 and make it a 3rd and very long, and they're already 0 for 1 on 3rd down today.
Stacked receivers on the right side of the formation. Acolo from the left hash mark claps his hands, takes the snap, and a flag comes flying in before the play gets going.
Probably going to be procedure, against Rowlett. Boy, penalties have hurt this team all year long.
There's been multiple games where they've had around 15 plus 15-plus penalties in a game. I think that's happened at least twice. I'll check, but I'm pretty sure it's been 3 times.
Another example tonight, they already gave the ball to North Garland at their 37. They've been giving their defense terrible field position all year because of it.
3rd and 15. Okolo rolls out to the right side. Got a man in the middle of the field, wide open, but missed him. That was Trey Long running along in a drag route, crossing route, past the 25, near the 30-yard line, the line to gain. But on the run, Okolo couldn't hit him.
Yeah, as you said, wide open, and it was low and away, and Long dove for it. Still didn't even come close to it.
And another 3 and out for the Rowlett Eagles on back-to-back possessions, and Jacob Martin out there to punt away for Rowlett with 7:19 on the clock.
His first punt 9 yards into this strong north wind. Let's see if he can do a little better job. Keep it low. That's the first thing you've got to do.
Low snap, but he picks it up. Now a low kick.
See the difference?
Hit at the 40-yard line, picked up, dancing around, mows out to the left side, and knocked down to the 45 on the return was DeCoris Taylor.
Again, he also kicked this one straight. First one he kicked toward the sideline, and that was easier and he also kicked it way up in the air. So the wind just knocked it down and pushed it. If you're going to kick into this wind, kick it straight and low. That's what he just did. I know it was only a 20-yard punt, but compared to 9, it was a lot prettier than the last one.
Would it be 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line for God's Power Hawaii, the quarterback for North Garland. And the Raiders have trips out to the left side, 2 receivers to the right side, empty backfield for Hawaii. On the right hash mark, calls out to his offensive line, claps his hands, takes the snap, fires right side, got a man in a bubble screen, gets a couple of yards past the 30-yard line, inside the 30 to the 28. On that catch and run was Justin Hinton, the 5'11 junior, 180 pounds.
God's Power. I want to make a deal with you right now. If you find another player this year with the first name God's Power, we need to start a fan club.
Absolutely. That is one heck of a name, God's Power in Hawaii. I want to say both of his names multiple times tonight.
Yeah, it's got to be a one-of-a-kind name, without a doubt.
Hinton, the motion man for the right side, a little shovel pass forward. Hinton makes the man miss, but he dropped the football. He dropped the football, and Rowlett got it. He had an open space with a first down marker and tried to make a move and was stripped. I think it was Ja'Cory Brown who got in there.
No, it was, I hate to correct you, but it was Ubakun Okioti, or however you pronounce it.
Michael Ubakun Okioti got on the right side, the SMU commit.
Not only stripped it, he was kind of carrying it, and kind of in the back underneath his arm. He didn't really have a good handle on it, but it took the strip, so he reaches in, strips it from behind, and then falls on the football, all done by the one kid, Okioti.
And a turnover
right there, Okioti.
Right there, Okioti, nice. Turnover for Rowlett. Takeaway for Rowlett, rather. Brings the offense back out on the field, and James Okolo. He drops back, takes his time, and hammered as he threw that ball into the ground, coming off the edge. One of those North Garland Raiders who is absolutely killing it. That's Samarian Richardson, the 6'1", 225-pound senior. Big body coming off the edge.
Probably stung, too, because it got hit right under the elbow, right up there into the armpit area. James appears okay, but he'll probably feel that one tomorrow also.
He let that one go, so incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 from the 27-yard line. Rolls out to the left side, quarterback keeper all the way, past the 30, dives forward. Gets a good forward progression. Extracurricular all over the field, it looks like, actually. No flags, just a couple of whistles down to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd and medium, 3rd and 7.
Just a straight quarterback keeper. He cuts it up the seam instead of going wide with it. Remember, Okola is their leading rusher with Yarborough out tonight. He is now, actually, he was their leading rusher anyway by a few yards over Okola coming into this game, so they love to run him wide with the football.
3rd and 6 officially with 5:50 on the clock. 0-0 in the first quarter from Williams Stadium. Rowlett has James Okolo taking it out to the right side, rolling out, looking downfield, looking for a man. He's got a man deep. Fires for Trey Long. Jump off the midfield mark. A flag comes flying in, but a first down for the time being for Rowlett.
It's kind of away from the play. This could be an illegal block by the offensive tackle. Unfortunately, not even near the play, but let's see. I've been known to be wrong. Let's see what the call is.
Laundry all over the field.
Illegal receiver. That tackle went too far downfield. That's a shame. Great play by Okola. He just barely got that off. Again, the pressure really coming from a straight 4-man rush from North Garland tonight.
Coach Derek Alford raved about how the offensive line has improved. We've got a couple of hard hits on a colo.
Well, part of it was he did hold on to the football for a long time on the roll right and kind of changed receivers. And, it's hard for the offensive lineman kind of have a clock in their head, and they take off after a certain point.
Okolo drops back in a shotgun, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, steps up, goes out to the right side, past the line of scrimmage, jukes around, gets to the 30-yard line, but nowhere near the line to gain, which was the 37.
And they are now 0 for 3 on 3rd down, and the need on 3rd down has been the problem. They have needed, it looks like, they've needed 8, 10, and 11 yards on their 3 third down plays, and you've got to do a better job on 1st and 2nd down.
Jacob Martin out there for his 3rd time to punt in the 1st quarter. With 5 minutes to go, and line drive kick, nice punt by Martin. It just sticks up, caught at the 35-yard line by Taylor, who dances around past the 40, and then finally wrapped up and thrown down by Uba Anya.
Getting a little better with every punt. Kind of learning how to do it into this win, and this one not too bad. This one 30 yards, so he's gone 9 to 20 to 30 on his 3 punts.
Well, if you remember the first game we called against Plano, which was not a very pretty game, to say the least, for Rowlett, Jacob Martin did not look as good as he did after that. He didn't look all that comfortable punting the ball, even on his field goals. The next game, he came back like he worked on it all week long, and he turned into a fine punter for Rowlett.
Rowlett has always been one of those schools that has great special teams, punters and kickers.
Godpower Hawaii hands this one off to the left side. That's Jaden Davis. Cuts it outside and gets the 1st down on 1st down past the midfield mark into Rowlett territory.
I've been covering this team for years, Ethan. I've been covering them back when you were a little boy. Actually, back when you were playing at Rockwall. There was a time when they had 2 kickers that were better than most teams' 1 kicker, both of them. They've always been known for punters and kickers at Rowlett.
Doubles wide receiver set for Hawaii. Godpower got a man to jump offside. Free play, throws this one to the right side and incomplete. 2 flags on the field, but in the area of offsides. Maybe it looked like Ja'Cory Brown hopped up on the hard count.
Yeah, it's going to be 5.
It was a free play by Hawaii. Threw it to the right side, but nobody was there. His receiver took off downfield. Maybe he thought that's where Hawaii was going to look for him. Either way, it'll be 1st and 5 from the 43-yard line. Going left to right, again, North Garland in their black-on-black jerseys and black helmets, most of them wearing pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is October. In the pistol formation, man in motion, Godpower takes it. And a whistle comes in because of a flag. We'll see what it is.
Another flag.
And a false start puts them right back to where they started. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line of Rowlett. 3:45 in the 1st quarter. We're scoreless. No offense has really been able to get anything going. I mean, they haven't actually gotten past the 30 and 50 on the Rowlett side.
Basically, neither team's done anything offensively, and mainly because they're come up empty on every 3rd down conversion try.
Pistol formation, handoff to Dave Davis, and Davis knocked down hard.
Tell you what, these 2 teams have come to hit tonight. This is a very physical game, and that was just a hard shot right into the chest by Donovan Moore, and he went down immediately.
Donovan Moore has really improved over the coming weeks, and he is one of those guys that Coach Derek Alford has talked about that really anchors this defense.
We've seen this team every game around that. This is the hardest hitting I've seen already midway through the 1st quarter in one game.
2nd and 8 from the 46-yard line. 2:55 on the clock in the 1st. Hawaii drops back, looks downfield. Here comes the pressure from Rowlett. Steps up, fires to the right side, and incomplete. Joseph Brox coming in with a hard hit on the wide receiver, Isaiah DeLeon.
Yeah, it was a hard throw, too. In other words, Brox had to break on the ball quickly and just stepped in front and knocked it away. Good closing speed from Brox, even though he was behind the receiver when the ball came.
How many times this year have we seen Joseph Brox really deliver hits and make big plays?
You could easily say he's the defensive player of the game in almost every game this year.
He's got kick returns for a touchdown, interceptions returned for a touchdown. He's the full package, and folks, Joseph Brox is just a sophomore. 3rd and 8. From the 46-yard line. Hawaii takes the snap, drops back, rolls out to the right side. Here comes the pressure. Screen pass out to the weak side. Caught by Davis. Gets the 1st down. Past the 40-yard line, past the 35. It looked like the ball might have came loose for a second, but recovered by Jaden Davis, a first down for North Garland.
Beautiful outside screen. The quarterback rolls to his right and then fires back across the field, and they had it set up beautifully.
So first down for North Garland. The ball is placed at the 37-yard line, making it the 33-yard line, I beg your pardon. On the left hash mark, going left to right. Davis, the running back, behind the Y in the pistol formation. H-back into the ball game, the right side of the formation. Try to draw Rowlett off sides. Now they stop and reset. Look for their head coach to give him the play. That's Joe Castile. Claps his hands, drops back. Nawai looks to the right side, fires to the right side. He's got a man downfield and incomplete. Joseph Brox did a nice job of hand-checking that receiver down there. The ball was intended for Justin Hinton.
Yeah, forced the receiver. It was just a deep streak, and the receiver, Justin Hinton, kind of stopped. But I think you're right. I think Brox had something to do with it. He does it all. He stops the receiver and then runs after the ball trying to do the interception. With the wind, though, that was a hard interception because the wind just carried it much deeper than Brox probably thought it would. It looks like the wind has picked up even more since kickoff.
It's blowing. 1:57 here in the first quarter. 0-0 the score. Man in motion right to left is Ivan Garcia. Nawai, play action, no. Hands this one off to Davis. Davis fights forward, gets to the 30-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play to the 30. It'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Again, early contact by Curtis Johnson. He just can't hang on. This time he grabbed him up high around the shoulder pads, and the back breaks loose, but a good job again by Johnson to slow the play up and gunk things up a little bit while his teammates finish off the runner.
A minute and a half on the clock at the 30-yard line, going left to right. North Garland hasn't really got anything going offensively. Well, neither has Rowlett. This is their longest and best drive of the first quarter so far.
They're 1 out of 2 on third down. Their average need on third down, including this play, is 9 yards. So Rowlett's doing a pretty good job on first and second down defense.
Shotgun formation for Nawai. Man in motion. That's Garcia right to left. Fires this from the left side on the flat and incomplete. Intended for the receiver, Isaiah De Leon.
As you heard in the pregame show on our coaches show, a very interesting stat that the Alford threw out to us and our listeners out there. All but 2, and you looked it up, all but 2 touchdowns by the opposition in the last 2 games are on either third or fourth down. Boy, those are just killers. As I mentioned just a moment ago, they're doing good first and second down defense here, but all year they've been getting killed on third and fourth down touchdowns.
Absolutely. And now, fourth down, they're going to go for it. 4th and 7 in this pistol formation. Trips out to the right side. God's power to Hawaii. Claps his hands. Takes the snap. Throws a backwards pass to Davis. Davis stops, reverses field, passes for the 35-yard line, and brought down by a flock of Eagles. Turnover on downs, and Rowlett takes possession with 57 seconds to go in the first quarter. 0-0.
I think he had an intention of maybe throwing the option pass, the trick play to his receiver, but the receiver was not open because of good coverage. Good job by who else but Joseph Brox to recognize, hey, this could be a trick play. He had great one-on-one coverage way downfield, and they didn't even bother throwing it. Boy, is there anything Brox? I'm telling you, if you check for the car keys, I'll bet you he drove the bus over here.
Well, Brox just a sophomore. We might see next year. Maybe he's upgraded that offensive position because we've seen him run the ball after returns very, very well. Rowlett back out on the field. James Okolo, takes the ball and hits. Quarterback keeper ball comes out on the first play on this drive. Whistles come flying in. They're trying to get bodies off the pile.
Well, North Garland thinks they've got it, and so does the referee. It's North Garland football.
After a turnover on downs, the Rowlett Eagles turn it over. Coming out with that football was Samarion Richardson. He delivered a nice hit on Okolo so far. This time gets a fumble recovery for a North Garland possession. 50 seconds on the clock in the first. It's 0-0.
Some of our sponsors tonight, Lakeview Car Wash, Golden Rule Auto Care, and the Rowlett Eagle Football Booster Club.
Jaden Davis, the running back to the left of God's Power Nawai. Man in motion, right to left. Gabe Harris, the tight end. Nawai rolls out to the left side. Quarterback keeper goes back to the right side. Dives forward. Ball comes out, but he was down. Gets to the 35-yard line. A gain of 1 on the play, bringing up 2nd and 9. 39 seconds in the first.
Doing a good job, although Nawai, he really hadn't been too involved in the offense yet. Remember, this is the leading rusher and passer on this team. Red Barons of Saxe said he almost single-handedly beat them in that upset bid last week. Saxe only won that game by 1 touchdown. So he said, look out for this kid. He's the one that that makes the offense go. So far, Rowlett is doing a pretty good job defensively.
Harris, the tight end in the ball game. Pistol formation. Harris in motion, right to left. Nawai takes the snap, hands it to Davis, right up the middle. Davis hit hard, bottled up by a few Rowlett Eagles. Gain of a couple on the play down to the 33-yard line.
And really, they haven't really turned the quarterback loose yet. I mean, it's been a lot of handoffs up the middle over guard, and, it's been a pretty conservative game plan so far.
3rd down and 7 when we return into the first quarter. We'll head to the second on 92.1 FM at KXEZ.
Other sponsors tonight: Advantage Storage, Chick-fil-A, Chiloso's Mexican Bistro, First Baptist Church of Rowlett, Jason's Deli, Whataburger, The Ultimate Driving School, Super Shack Seafood Grill, Sign Guy DFW, Shenanigans, a new sponsor here on KXEZ, Rowlett Food, Richardson Methodist Medical Center, the Musgrove Agency, and Jersey Mike's Subs. Our Raising Cane's halftime show guest, the Superintendent of Schools for the Garland ISD, Dr. Ricardo Lopez, will be with us, and more on our halftime in a moment.
Nawai, play action. Empty backfield. Goes out to the right side. Trying to fight for that first down mark. Jacoy Brown and an old flock of Eagles comes flying in to make that tackle on 3rd down to bring up 4th.
And again, both teams doing a great job on 1st and 2nd down. North Garland is now just 1 out of 4 on 3rd down. Now, they've spent most of the half so far in Rowlett territory, so they're going to go for it again because it's too far to try a field goal. It'd be about a 46-yard attempt into the strong wind if they were to try it.
4th and 4 from the 30, make it the 29-yard line. Try to get Rowlett on a hard count was God's Power Nawai. Now looks to the sideline, gets a new play. Sets up, empty backfield, trips to the left side from the right hash mark, this time going right to left. 4th down, dropping back. Nawai rolls out to the right side. He's got open space, past the 30, past the 25, down to the 20-yard line, and a first down, North Garland.
Very well-designed play. In other words, he drops into the pocket, acts like he wants to throw, does a pump fake to the right side, and that's where he wanted to run it all along. So he pump fakes to that side, gets the DBs to backtrack a little bit, and then he takes off around that right side and had a lot of open spaces and got the first down.
A minute off the clock in the second quarter. 0-0 the score. North Garland and Rowlett. Remember, these two teams are trying to fight to stay relevant in the playoff race in District 9 6A. Trips to the left side from the right hash mark. Shotgun snap for Nawai. He drops back, looks left, fights forward, moves up in the pocket, fires out to the left side, and almost intercepted. To the right side, to the left side of the field was Tajay Librera. The ball was overthrown by Nawai and went right in and out of the arms of Librera.
And nobody knows better than Librera that he should have held on to that ball. And actually, I think it caught him by surprise. It way overshot the intended receiver, who was open. Quarterback rolling to his left, has all the momentum behind him, and he kind of almost threw a shot put. It was not good for him, and he overshot the receiver.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 22-yard line. Best drive of the day for North Garland. Trips out to the left side, fires left, and off the corner. Coming out, down he goes, and who else? Joseph Brox coming from his cornerback position. My goodness, doing it again.
Just a straight blitz from the corner, and Nawai never saw him coming. He's lucky he didn't have the ball up getting ready to try and throw it, because that could have turned into a fumble. Pretty good hit from Brox, just blindsided him from behind.
Pushes him all the way back to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 16 for North Garland, and God's Power Nawai trips to the right side.
Average need on 3rd down for North Garland, 10 per 3rd down. They're only 1 out of 4 so far.
Well, that's been fantastic on defense. Dropping back is Nawai in the pocket, fires to the right side, the left side, down the middle, and incomplete. Nobody was there, and flags come flying in. Tajay Librera, the defensive man, and Isaiah DeLeon, the receiver.
Another one of those flags way away from the play. We had a receiver sitting on his derriere back here at the 20 with a couple of defenders around him. Let's see, this could be some kind of holding, maybe pass interference, but the ball was way downfield for pass interference. Can you call pass interference when you can't even get near the ball? No, I don't think so.
It looked a little bit like they got...
It's pass interference.
It looked like they got tied up just a bit. Tajay Librera and the intended receiver, Isaiah DeLeon.
I guess you had to call it that because he didn't hold him and maybe, tripped him up?
Well, it was 3rd and 16, so it'll go... it's not an automatic first down, so it'll be third. It will be. It'll be a 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. For North Garland, 2 receivers to the right side, tied into the ball game. That's Gabe Harris. Shotgun snap, hands up the middle to Caden Davis. Gets past the 15 down to the 12-yard line, and what looked like a great defensive stand finally for Rowlett turns into a 2nd and 8. Jaden Davis on that carry for North Garland. 9:24 on the clock in the second. 0-0 the score. Pistol formation. Jaden Davis behind the quarterback Nawai. Again, fake to him, and in comes that defensive line once again. Michael Ibukun Okoyote, the SMU commit, comes and knocks down behind the line of scrimmage God's Power Nawai.
Yeah, North Garland's having a lot of trouble with quickness from the edge. You saw Brock shoot in there from cornerback on blindsided him. This time Okoyote comes in from right defensive end. Nawahi never saw him coming. Rowlett really is taking advantage of the speed that they have on the outside to come in and make a lot of tackles before they can get to the linebacker level.
It'll be 3rd and 8 from the 13-yard line. A lull in the action, and finally a timeout called by head coach from North Garland, Joe Castile. With 8:37 on the clock here in the second quarter, still nothing to score.
Rest of our halftime show coming up. Ethan will go over the scores from around the area, and I'll have a little bit of a review on what Rowlett's playoff chances are with a win or a loss tonight. Big difference if they were to lose tonight compared to if they could win tonight as far as their playoff chances. We'll go over that coming up. And again, Dr. Ricardo Lopez, the superintendent of schools of the GISD, will be our halftime guest on our Raising Cane's halftime. Don't forget that 92.1 is your Metroplex home for Texas A&M football and men's basketball. Tomorrow, the Aggies will travel to Columbia, South Carolina. Now, that's Columbia, Missouri, to meet the Missouri Tigers. Kickoff at 11. Pregame starts at 10. Our coverage right here on KXEZ. Don't forget TuneIn Radio and KXEZ.com. If you have out-of-town friends and family who can't get us at 92.1, they can get us at those 2 places and hear us anywhere in the world. We have all the Rowlett games on the radio and streamed each week.
Coming out of the timeout, 8:37 on the clock. Lob pass to the end zone. Just short and incomplete. God's Power Nawai threw a jump ball to Isaiah DeLeon on the left sideline to the front quarter of the end zone in a double coverage. It was caught by DeLeon, but he landed out of bounds, incomplete. It was actually kind of a nonchalant kind of catch and effort from DeLeon right in the bottom corner, but it'll bring up 4th down. 4th down and 8 from the 13-yard line for North Garland, who has a total of 45 yards in this game. 5 first down, which is 5 more than what Rowlett has. Pistol formation for Nawai. Davis behind him. Harris, the tight end, moving right to left. To the left side, play action, Nawai. Here comes the pressure. Gets out of it. More pressure out to the right side. Throws it to his running back in the flat. And bottled up right behind the line of scrimmage. And a turnover on downs. Rowlett takes over at the 15-yard line. In to bring in that pressure for Rowlett was Uba Anya. And another turnover on downs and a great defensive stand, which became the best drive of the day for North Garland. It stalled out with 8:20 in the second quarter, 0-0. Barn burner here.
Thanks to our title sponsors tonight, Raising Cane's. Their strength in numbers joined the Rowlett Chamber of Commerce today. Shelley Dietrich State Farm, North Texas Appliance, Belfiore Spa and Salon, Trophy Nissan, C3 Church, and Certified Foundation. Thanks to our title sponsors.
2 stacked receivers set on the other side of the formation. Okolo for Rowlett hands this one to Devontae Crow as a nice carry on first down to get from the 15-yard line down to the 22. Nice gain of 7 on first down, bringing up 2nd and 3. 0-0, 8:06 on the clock here in the second quarter. James Okolo running the offense for Rowlett. Again, same formation, but a man jumped off sides. The right tackle for Rowlett. And they'll move him back 5. A good gain on first down is pretty much negated. .7:47 and counting in the second quarter. Handoff to Crow. Up the middle. He's got some space. Past the 25, past the 30, on the way. Past the 40 in midfield he goes. Into North Garland territory. Finally dragged down past the 40 and the 35. into North Garland territory at the 32. Big-time run for Devontae Crow. Biggest play of the day for either side.
61 yards. That's more yardage than either team had in total offense before that play.
Devontae Crow lines back up to the left side of Okola, shaking off his legs a little bit. Two receivers on either side of the formation from the left hash mark. Again, handoff to Crow, and Crow bottled up this time, getting nowhere. Actually going backwards, a loss of 3 on the play to the 35.
We saw Kingston there to start the game. Something tells me they're going to go with the hot hand now and Crow after he ripped that one off.
Okola goes and gets the play from head coach Derek Alford. 7:02 and counting in the second quarter. 0-0 the score. Ball on the 35-yard line. It's 2nd and 13.
Here's the stat for you. That was the first down of the game for Rowlett.
Absolutely. Okola rolling out to the right side, finds Gradneru at the 31-yard line and gets down to the 29, making it 28. And a nice play and a rollout for James Okola. First completion of the day for James Okola. That was to Timmy Gradneru.
And a 3rd and 5 coming very definitely for down territory. Although they have the wind at their back, right now it'd be a 45-yard field goal attempt.
Stack trips to the far side near the numbers on the left side, moving up front. Whistles come flying in as well as flags. And it's false start on Rowlett. Thought for a second it might be on North Garland, but 5 yards backwards to the Rowlett Eagles. It'll be 3rd and 11 from the 34-yard line. They get the 33.
Rowlett 0 for 3 on 3rd down. These two teams are combined 2 out of 8 on 3rd down so far. That's why we're still scoreless for the most part.
In the shotgun is Okola from the right hash mark. Movement up front once again. This time another false start on Rowlett. A big play ripped off by Devontae Crow has pretty much stalled this drive. Has been stalled out by penalties on this drive. 6:03 on the clock in this second. Still scoreless from Williams Stadium in Garland. Two receivers on either side. Crow to the left of Okola. Okola drops back. Here comes the pressure. Spins out of it somehow. Moves out to the right side. Gets past the numbers. Stops. Pops. Throws a deep ball to the left side and caught by Trey Long near the first down marker.
And they ruled him down. He lost the football, but they ruled him down. Oh, one of the officials is saying incomplete. Are you kidding me?
One saying incomplete. Two are saying he was down, and now they're agreeing with the back judge.
Wow, he must have been juggling it. Maybe here's a replay over here. Let's see if we can see the end of this play. Boy, that was close. I think he was down before the ball came out.
It looked in real time like it was a catch and a first down. A nice play from James Okola to keep that play extended. But instead of a first down, it'll bring up 4th down and another Jacob Martin sighting.
I do not see a lot of argument from that Rowlett sideline, so they must have agreed with the call. But, boy, the replay would suggest it was awfully close to him being down before that ball came out.
DeCoris Taylor to receive for North Garland.
It might have been ground contact that caused the fumble, and in that case, it was a good call.
End over end punt caught by Taylor at the 14-yard line and swallowed up by the Eagles to the 19. They'll mark him down at the 20-yard line and would look like a nice drive because of a big play, a 60-plus yarder from Devontae Crow. Stalled out in the end because of penalties. Again, penalties have hurt this team all year long. You mentioned that, Scott.
Yeah, and a ton of 5-yarders tonight, 3 or 4 of them on that one possession. It was a pretty good drive from their 15 all the way to the 38, but the penalties, like 2 in a row, gave them a 3rd and 15. They couldn't overcome it.
And now North Garland will take over at the 20-yard line with 5:34 here in the second quarter of play. Hawaii hands this one to Davis and swallowed up. A flock of Eagles come flying in and get them at the line of scrimmage. No gain, 2nd and 10. 0-0 the score. A couple of defensive stands, or a few defensive stands all game long. Offenses have not been able to get anything going. To start this drive for North Garland, they had 45 yards of total offense. It'll be trips out to the right side from the left hash mark as Hawaii gets his offense set after he gets the play from his head coach, Joe Castillo, on the left sideline. Waits for the snap. Takes it, drops back, fires to the left side, high pass, and hit hard out of bounds by Librera. On that catch was the receiver Isaiah DeLeon.
Another third down, another good first and second down defensive series. Both teams have been doing it all night as North Garland's just 2 out of 5, but their average need on third down on those 2 out of 5s has been 10 yards per third down, and it's been that way for both teams, just having to overcome way too much with bad first and second down offense.
Trips to the right side. Davis moves from left to right of Nawai, who drops back after he takes the snap, rolls out to the right side. Here comes Michael Ibuka-Coyote, and caught in the flat by Davis, and he evades a tackle, breaks another tackle, and gets past the 30 and a first down, but a flag over here in the middle of the field away from the play.
Yeah, and kind of downfield, 10 yards away from the line of scrimmage. This would be an interesting call. Maybe another illegal receiver downfield. And that's exactly what it is. It was 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. I mean, it had to be a legal receiver downfield. It's kind of hard to hold that far down. Boy, the penalties just continuing to come both ways.
Already 7 penalties in the game for Rowlett.
This would be a big one for the Eagles here to take this penalty because they did have enough for the first down or it was right at it. If you go back to the line of scrimmage, they're picking it up. They're picking it up, and they're telling the Rowlett coaches why. And that's going to give them a first down. That's quite a break there for North Garland, actually.
4:05 on the clock here in the second quarter. Still scoreless from Williams Stadium. The ball will now be spotted at the 38-yard line, right in the middle of the field. Godstower Nawai lines up in the pistol formation. In the shotgun to the right of him is Jaden Davis. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends in the ball game. Davis takes up the middle off the left tackle and knocked down hard by a couple of Rowlett Eagles. In on to make that tackle was Uba Anyam, who's really put his stamp on this whole offensive side for North Garland all game long.
Rowlett with only 1 first down and 74 yards of offense, almost all of it on that 1 carry by Devontae Crow, if you'll remember. Only 5 first downs for North Garland with 48 yards. So Rowlett's almost doubled them in yardage, but neither team's come close to scoring.
2nd and 5, dropping back is Nawai. He fires a deep ball out to the left side and incomplete. It looked like Jaden Ellis, the defensive back, was going to run under it, but Isaiah DeLeon was on the ground and tripped him up.
Here's a troubling stat to Ethan. Rowlett, late second quarter, they already have 7 penalties for 43 yards, a lot of small penalties. But most of them on offense and illegal procedure, I think at least 3 of those.
We've seen games where Rowlett has really been penalized. Even in the big win against earlier in the year, they had a lot of penalties in that one. They just cannot get shake that. Run up the middle, hit hard by Ja'Cory Brown on 3rd and 5, brings up 4th down. They'll give him forward progress to the line of scrimmage, but that's it, 4th and 5.
A little hard to sustain drives, these two teams. North Garland now 3 out of 7, Rowlett 0 for 4 on 3rd down. At least this time, Rowlett's going to force a punt in North Garland territory. They've spent almost this entire half in Rowlett territory. Give the Rowlett defense some credit. They've done a lot of bending but not breaking here so far, and they're not giving up those touchdowns on 3rd and 4th down, which has been a problem all year.
Ortiz punts this one away for his 2nd time for North Garland. It hits down at the 37-yard line. Takes a little bit of a roll for Rowlett to the 49, making it the 39-yard line. And with 2:58 on the clock, James Akolo and the Rowlett offense will try to break the stalemate. 0-0 the score with 2:58 in the second quarter.
North Texas Appliance, a longtime sponsor here on KXEZ. That's where I got my washer and dryer, my refrigerator, freezer. It was a truly wonderful experience, friendly expertise from the in-house staff, and the friendly delivery and installation. I strongly suggest you get your appliances like I did at North Texas Appliance in Rockwall.
Now from the left hash mark, going left to right, Akolo in the shotgun, Crow into the game as the running back. 2:58 on the clock, scoreless game from Williams Stadium. Handoff to Crow, up the middle he goes. Gain of 1, and the pile pushes him for a gain of 2 to the 41-yard line. Helmets come off. Devontae Crow's helmet comes off, so he might have to come out for one play, and he does. Kingston Johnson come in as the running back. And actually, instead of Johnson lining up, it'll be Julius Inahos Now Okolo rolls out to the right side, 2nd and 8. Caught on the right sideline, got the numbers by Gradneru and hit down. Gets the first down, but gets tackled at the 45-yard line. Nice pitch and catch from Okolo. His only second completion of the ball game. Goes for a first down for Rowlett. 2:29 on the clock in the second, still scoreless.
Yeah, Rowlett has 2 timeouts left. Plenty of time here with 2:25 and counting.
Inhouse comes out, and back into the ball game is Devontae Crow. Lines up to the right side of James Okolo from the right hash mark. Kingston Johnson in motion left to right. A little bit of confusion down there, and Okolo couldn't get his running back set, and now a timeout will be called on the field by Coach Derek Alford with 2:13 on the clock.
Again, don't forget, coming up on our Raising Cane's halftime show, I'll speak with Dr. Ricardo Lopez, the superintendent of schools here in the Garland ISD. All kinds of things to talk to him about. We'll explain the playoff situation for Rowlett coming into this game tonight, and Ethan will go over the scores, and we'll also look at the first half stats. So stay tuned for that Raising Cane's halftime show. 92.1 FM KXEZ, 95.3 KHYI. The Range are deeply rooted and invested in North Texas. We thank you for listening and your support. We'd love to have you as a sponsor. So we also do Caddo Mills, half of their regular season games. And then we'll be back to that next week when we do all the Rowlett games. We'd love to have you as a sponsor. Good way to reach your customers. Very affordable. Call this number, 972-251-0725. Again, the number, 972-251-0725.
Shovel pass out to the right side by Kingston Johnson and can't get anywhere. Actually loses 5 yards, make it 4 to the 49-yard line. Just shy of midfield with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. The first half of play, it's been nothing but defense. The offense cannot get anything going on either side.
Only 2 first downs for Rowlett.
Aside from a 60-plus yard run by Devontae Crow, 90 total yards for Rowlett. 1:45 on the clock. Again, play action. Okolo out to the right side, makes a man miss. A beautiful move to get away. Throws it to the left side and caught at the 40-yard line. But he's down, says the referee, at the 41. That's Timmy Gradneru. Okolo got out of pressure, ran all the way from the right side of the field to the left side, and on the run found Gradneru at the 31. They get the 41, and now it's 3rd and 6.
Very much 4-down territory to get the 6. 1:15 and running, but they do have 2. Now they're down to 1 timeout, actually.
Trips to the left side of the formation. Okolo rolls out to the left, and a terrible pass out to the left side into the dirt. Yeah. Brings up 4th and 6.
He threw it way too early. The receiver hadn't even made his break yet over there on the far side. He seemed to rush for some reason. He had more time. This looks like it's out of field goal range. They're bringing on the punting team here on 4th and 6. I guess they're afraid of giving North Garland decent field position if they don't get the first down, but not a bad situation for a fake punt here, if you ask me. Way out of field goal range. It'd be a 58-yarder, even though they have the win.
Jacob Martin on to do the punting for Rowlett. This time, a high punt. Not very far, but it hits down at the 16-yard line. Takes a nice roll for Rowlett inside the 15, down to the 11. Turns out to be a nice punt from Jacob Martin.
So now that really puts North Garland in the hole. And, you're going to say that, well, what if Rowlett plays good first and second down defense? Well, they've only got 1 timeout left anyway. So, they could force a punt here, but North Garland would just run out most of this 54 seconds. Now, North Garland, if they can rip off a big play, they've got 2 timeouts left. And I think it's going to kind of come down to this first play. If they rip off a big play, then North Garland's going to get interested. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if both teams just let this first half clock drain.
Under center goes God's Power Hawaii. Takes a knee.
Took a knee. That's unusual in the first half.
Especially when...
How many times do you see a quarterback take a knee in the second quarter of a football game?
53 seconds on the clock and a long way to go. It's 0-0.
Rowlett's only got 1 timeout. Why not run a play and see if you can break one, and then, you got 2 timeouts to play with.
Absolutely.
I've never seen that before.
Peculiar call by Coach Joe Castile. Again, under center, and another knee taken by God's Power Hawaii, and that'll pretty much run the clock down here in the second quarter. First half of play winding down. It's 0-0. No offense has gotten anything going so far.
Again, our Eagle sponsors tonight are Advantage Storage, Chick-fil-A, Chiloso's Mexican Bistro, First Baptist Church of Rowlett, Jason's Deli, Jersey Mike Subs, the Musgrove Agency, Richardson Methodist Medical Center, Rowlett Food, Shenanigans, Sign Guy DFW, Super Shack, Seafood Grill, Ultimate Driving School, and Whataburger. Don't forget, we are your Metroplex home for the Texas A&M football and men's basketball team. Aggies will go to Columbia, Missouri to take on Missouri tomorrow. Our pregame here on 92.1 starts at 10, kickoff at 11. All the A&M games right here on 92.1 FM KXEZ.
Fast-paced game right here, 45 minutes of real time just to go through the first half. When we come back, we'll see you and talk to Dr. Ricardo Lopez, if I'm not mistaken.
You got it right.
Scott Powell will do that. We'll talk a little bit more about Rowlett's playoff chances when we come back on the Raising Cane's halftime show on 92.1 FM KXEZ. Back on 92.1 FM at KXEZ. This is the Raising Cane's halftime show.
You know, while we're waiting for our guest, who hopefully will be here, why don't we go over the first half stats?
Absolutely. Rowlett and North Garland scoreless through the first half. Been a defensive showing in a quick, fast-paced, moving first half for both these teams. Team stats: only 2 first downs for Rowlett, 6 for North Garland.
This won't take long, will it?
94 total yards for Rowlett to North Garland's 53, 21 yards for North Garland passing.
Remember, 60 of Rowlett's yards, rushing and total, came on 61 yards on one run by Devontae Crow.
And Crow,
play in the game.
Well, Crow, we talked about in the pregame how he's done a nice job, especially for Colton Yarbrough, who hasn't been doing that well, and now he's out for the game. And Crow has been fantastic. Showed you that 60-yarder right there. 25 yards through the air for Rowlett, 21 for North Garland.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, of course.
As we're looking through these, a couple of things that have stood out to me. Look at the run defenses. Rowlett not only has 94 yards, which isn't too bad, but they're only averaging 3.1 a carry as a team. Look at North Garland's carries as a team, 1.6 average per carry rushing the ball. That's great defense.
Well, we've seen a Michael Ibuku and Okeoti, like we mentioned, the SMU commit, Ja'Cory Brown, another D1 commit for that defensive line, as well as Uba Anyam, who's got a nice game going. And those first three for those first 4 for the defense have been great all game long.
Sadly, the biggest number of the first half is the penalty.
Right, I was just about to say that. 8 penalties for 63 yards for Rowlett, 2 for 10 for North Garland, but those 8 penalties have really killed Rowlett on offense. It's just it's something that they've dealt with all year long, and they've got to really, if they want to stay in this playoff race, they got to correct that somehow. 1 turnover apiece for each team, both on fumbles, and individually, James Okolo 4 for 8 through the air, 50%, only 25 yards. It took him midway through the second quarter to complete his first pass. And God's Power Hawaii 6 for 13 for 21 yards. So no passing game whatsoever for either of these teams. Really no offense.
And look at Noehi, 5 carries, 5 yards. This guy came in as a leading rusher and thrower for North Garland. Combined average of 275 yards a game, rushing and passing, with 19 touchdowns. Through 2 quarters, he's got no touchdowns and 5 yards rushing and 21 yards passing. Give Rowlett's defense a lot of credit. They, according to Red Barons, sacked the head coach. You had to contain the quarterback, and if you do, you got a good chance of stopping him. And boy, Red Barons looks like an expert on the subject, as they just barely beat North Garland because of Noahi's talent last week.
Devontae Crow, the leading rusher for this Rowlett team, 57 total yards, although he did have a 61-yard big rush in the second quarter, 14.25 yards per carry for Devontae Crow. Kingston Johnson, 2 carries for 9 yards. Okolo, only 3 yards. He's the leading rusher coming into the game for Rowlett. For North Garland, Jaden Davis, 10 carries for 27 yards. The only running back that they have used this North Garland team all game long. Receiving-wise, Timmy Gradneru, 3 receptions, leads the team, and in yards, 29 yards. Only other player with a catch is Kingston Johnson, but he got -4 on a swing pass.
Let me take you through each series. It won't take long. Rowlett 1-2-3 punt. North Garland 1-2-3 punt. Rowlett 1-2-3 punt. North Garland fumbled on their second possession, second play of their second possession. but because of a short punt into the wind, they had started at the Rowlett 35, so Rowlett takes over at its own 27, 1-2-3 punt. North Garland got a first down, put together a pretty good drive from their 40 to the 30 as our halftime guest has arrived. And if you could hook him up, Ethan, then I'll finish this out. North Garland goes out on downs at the 30. Rowlett then fumbled on its next possession, but North Garland could not cash it in from its own 47 and ended up being stopped deep in Rowlett territory. Then Rowlett put together its best drive, went from its 15 to the 38 of North Garland, but had to punt it away. And then that was pretty much it for the rest of the first half. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will have the superintendent of schools for the Garland ISD. Back in a moment here on KXEZ. And we're back on our Raising Cane's halftime show. Rowlett and North Garland in a scoreless tie. And our special guest, we do have a guest each week, and we've got the head of the entire school district here, the superintendent, Dr.Ricardo Lopez, with us. Thanks for coming up and doing this. He's already apologized for being late, but he was shocked by the first half only lasting 45 minutes, and all of a sudden you look up and it's halftime. Thanks for coming up here, and what were your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I didn't really get to see the first half. I went to go watch my daughter play some volleyball.
There you go.
And so I had to cut out and, race against traffic, and I thought I was going to make it with plenty of time, and like you said, oh my gosh, I usually make it around halftime for these games. So I appreciate you having me on the show.
Well, thank you. Let's one thing that is our custom, we have our halftime guests. There's probably some people out there that don't know much about you or your background. I would like for you to take us through your childhood, your upbringing, all your different jobs. I'm sure you've had a few, and just your entire career to this point for somebody out there who doesn't know much about you.
Oh, my goodness. So,
Is this going to take a while?
No, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I grew up an Air Force brat. So my dad was in the service for 20 years, and I was born in Kansas City. We moved around the world, loved living in Guam. Think about that, beautiful tropical island.
Sounds like you make a good travel agent.
Oh, my goodness. So, when my dad finally retired, he wanted me to – he intentionally retired so I could build lasting friendships. And it was my 8th grade year. He retired in his hometown of El Paso. And I spent most of my career out there, and I worked up the ranks, I never wanted to be an educator, though. I want everybody to know I was that kid that you wanted to hang out with because we were going to have fun. I was that kid that, was in mischievous act. We weren't ever out to hurt anybody, but we were out to have a good time. And I felt school was more like a lockdown prison, okay? And
everything I expected a superintendent of schools to say, by the way.
Yeah, right. And so, I was very close with my principal and assistant principal, and I would tell them, graduate me. And they're like, no, you got to do your 4 years. You got to be good. You got to do this, and then we'll let you out. And I'm like, it does sound like a prison, right? And so whenever I was going through college, I wanted to get into criminal justice. And on my way out, I changed my major to history. And, I was talking to my dad, and he says, you didn't really have a rich education experience like you could have. Why? And I gave him all the reasons. And he says, well, then be the person to go change it and make it for what you envision. And here I am.
Good lesson for a kid in school.
Right. And so what I felt was programs needed to be enhanced. I felt like there needed to be a purpose for school the day you leave school. So you have to be college, career, military ready. In Garland ISD, I am proud to say we have over 200 CTE programs. We have a P-Tech and an early college at every high school.
You're speaking some foreign languages here. I can't be the only person that knows.
Oh, my
Would you tell us what all these letters mean?
So a CTE program is it gives you an industry certificate once you graduate, and we have 2 different programs to choose from. Most of them are high market, and so if you can get something in welding, refrigeration, mechanics, marketing, architecture. We have those things. P-Tech is you get an associate's degree and you get an industry certification. So like at Rowlett, who's playing tonight, their P-Tech is gaming, and that's big money. And so the kids are going to have an associate's in gaming and make more than their teachers as 18-year-olds. And they can get a bachelor's in gaming, and the biggest doctorate in gaming is called the Guildhall, and it's at SMU. It's the biggest one in the nation, or the most lucrative one in the nation. We're playing against North Garland. Theirs is the health magnet, so they got a P-Tech dealing with the health industry. If you choose not to go into that route, you can get an early college degree of 60 credit hours before you even graduate high school. We have that at every one of our 7 high schools, combined with the 200 CT program. So what does that translate to? That translates into, in COVID, our graduation rate soared to 94.5%, and we are right now at 81% of our students college, career, military ready. That's extraordinary. For a school district that has the diversity we have and has, I mean, we're a big school district. We're a big player. Those are astounding numbers, and people are excited about school.
Are you? You mentioned this district. Is it kind of an unusual district in that all but one of your schools, one of your 8 schools, is all in the same small little area here? Is that unusual, or are there others like this? And what are the positives and negatives of that?
So we got, it's beautiful because we're all in the same conference. The 8 schools an alternative school, and so we have 7 schools, right? And the positives is that these kids want to play against each other. They've grown up around each other.
They know each other.
Because we're a choice district, we don't have attendance zones like other school districts. You choose your school. It makes it tough on the kids on bus routes. So we have kids in South Garland going to Saxe. We have kids from Saxe going to Garland. It's all over the place. And it's just very, very unique. So you have to have a rich program to attract the kids. And if you're looking at both of these bands today, look how full they are. It's a good competitive environment. We still are a big school district, but we have small town values. And it just, like how you said, you know how it feels small? It's a beautiful synergy, and people don't realize how big we are. We're in Dallas County. We're the second largest school district.
Mm-hmm.
We're larger than Plano, and so it keeps the core values.
You're larger than Plano.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they have 3 schools, and you have 7, but those are pretty big schools in Plano too.
Yeah,
so that
do.
says something. This is Dr. Ricardo Lopez, the superintendent of schools here in Garland. We're at halftime on our Raising Cane's halftime show. It's scoreless between Rowlett and North Garland. Would you explain the rules behind, it is like open enrollment. You can go to whatever school you want to, but I'm sure there are some limitations. What are the specific rules on transferring and things?
So basically we have a few facets. So if you're going to choose an early college, P-Tech, or magnet program, you have to qualify, right? And once you qualify, then the choice is easy. But whenever you're applying, you get your first choice, second choice, and third choice. And then we balance it, right? So then we look at how many kids are going in, how many we're going to allow in, and then from there, your offer is either accepted or you get number 2. 96% of the kids applying get their first choice. So it's very, very extensive. And some of the limitations of it are, I get parents because we have different choices at different schools. We have parents with kids at 3 kids with 3 different high schools. And they say they love it because their kid has found their niche, but to be at 3 different places.
Wait, let me make sure I understood what you just said. You saying there's families with kids at 3 different schools?
Yes.
Is that what you just said?
3 different schools.
That's
yes.
amazing.
Yeah. But that's the choice program. And so if you have a child that's in medical, they're naturally gonna go to North. But if you have a kid that wants to be in gaming, and they're gonna go to Rowlett. If they're into IB, they're gonna go to Garland. We have a very robust Lakeview early college program. There's so many different reasons, and the kids go find their niche. And matter of fact, we have twins in 2 different schools.
Do you have to, we're very into athletics here, being, broadcasting the games. Do you have to, are there certain rules, though, for athletes? I mean, kids are going to want to go play football at this. You remember when Garland Garland's come back and they're really good this year.
Right.
They went through kind of a period there where they dropped off for a while, and Saxey became a big football player, for instance. How do you deal with kids that, what if they just want to go to one school because of athletics? Are you trying to make sure they're also going for academic reasons, or what are the rules on that?
So whenever they're leaving their 8th grade year into their 9th grade year, the choice that they get, that's their home school. And then UIL has rules on home schools. So if you ever leave for any other reason, you will be 365, right? So you have to sit out a year. If you leave the district, right, and then you come back a year or 2 later, right, you still got to go back to your home school. You can't be jumping schools.
Gotcha.
Now, in some cases, some kids do move schools. There's some circumstances from family problems or whatever that maybe they can't transport the kid or something like that. But then they're 365. They have to sit out a year, right? And so when kids compete, they don't want to sit on the bench or play for JV when they should be playing varsity. And so we don't see as much movement like that as one would think. But usually the kids make up their mind in 8th grade. They play these leagues, and they already like, hey, let's all go here. And so you'll see different cohorts go different places. Right now you're seeing a cohort at Garland, and they're just really something special. North has you could tell they're holding Rowlett to 0 points. They're mainly sophomores, right?
Mm-hmm.
Naaman's freshmen this year are phenomenal. They're like undefeated almost in JV and freshmen, and both of those are dominated by freshman students. And so you see just like cohorts. So they'll all go in different places, and Saxey always has a strong, robust program.
How is this district on facilities right now, athletically, but also any other facilities you'd like to talk about? And you've got to be proud of that natatorium, which, by the way, is about a 1-minute walk from my house.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you live in God's country because you live in Garland.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Tomorrow is actually the ribbon cutting ceremony for the natatorium, so you're invited to join us at 9 a.m. if you want to come in and check it out.
I got to get up that early?
Well, you can,
on a Saturday?
I'll let you come a little late. You know. But the natatorium is a state-of-the-art facility, and while most of our I would say most of our facilities aren't state of the art. We can move higher in some places. We're not lacking in infrastructure. So we don't have the indoor facilities like the surrounding districts, or we don't have grand weight rooms, and that might be in a future bond package. But last night I ran into the Naaman head coach who beat Wiley, right? And I go, man, the kids look tough and everything else. He goes, yeah, playing outdoors and not indoors toughens you up. So, they use it to their advantage. And I don't know what we'll do in the future, but our teams are adequately supplied. They got great budgets. And I invite people to come see that natatorium. It's state of the art. Matter of fact, it's got such a great filtration system that when you go in, the chlorine doesn't even burn your eyes, and it sucks the chlorine from the top of the water. I didn't realize chlorine sits on water and right on top. So when the kids are swimming and they turn around and inhale it,
mm-hmm.
it slows them down because they don't get pure oxygen. And we have a system that sucks that out to allow them to swim. We also have MRFA lining. So we had people give us Olympic grade advice, and we put in an Olympic grade pool for our students, so we could have Olympic trials at this Garland pool. It's and we seat 1,200, so it's pretty cool.
One other thing about athletics I wanted to mention: you lost a couple of long-time famous athletic folks here. The passing away of the legend Homer Johnson, and then Cliff Odenwald retiring. So. I love your new athletic director, by the way. We know each other from the past, but you lost a couple of famous folks there in Homer B. and Cliff Odenwald.
Both of them are irreplaceable.
That's a good point. There'd never be anybody like Homer, especially.
No, he was in the district like 68 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, working in the district. He was almost 90 when he retired, and he leaves a legacy. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and I'm going to tell you what an awesome person. And his right-hand person was always Cliff Odenwald. And the one thing I loved about Cliff is he didn't mind being in the shadow. When Cliff,
that's a good point.
Yep, Cliff is a dude, man. Cliff carries a big stick, right? And that type of humility and saying, you know what, I don't mind living in Homer's shadow, and if my time comes, great, and if it doesn't, great. I mean,
he didn't have an ego, did he?
No, here this guy worked in UIL. This guy was an athletic director at Plano, and then he chooses Garland. And how is he? He's like, I will live in that shadow because it's Homer B. And losing both of them, honestly, it'll never be the same. You don't replace those guys. But I'm so fortunate to have met them and be part of that legacy and got to learn from them. And to lead with humility like that is admirable.
Anything else you want to mention before I let you go?
You know
Any
what?
Other programs or anything?
You know what? First, I want to thank you. And I want the audiences to know that Garland ISD is an extraordinary district. I'm not saying that because
how long have you been here now?
I'm finishing my fourth year. Pretty much COVID years. I don't know if they're times 7 like dog years, right? But I'm going to just tell them that I'm not just proud of this district because I love it and I'm invested in it. It's like our children, right? We celebrate the things we know that they're doing well. And if you come to Garland ISD, your child will be prepared like no other. We are a blue-collar town and proud of it, but we're developing white-collar minds. And we have an extraordinary teaching force that is always commended. And if you start looking at the accolades that we've gotten, even under the COVID era, people's jaws would drop. The home values here might not be as high as everybody else, but the value that you're getting for a big, beautiful home, that the same home costs more money in a different place, who knows why. But the school system is more robust than almost every system in the state of Texas. So we invite them to come over, and this isn't because I am superintendent. This is because the people here drive it, and they care. You live in the community, and if it wasn't true, you'd be shaking your head no. You're like, yes, you're right. So I appreciate the time and coming here.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And this is going to be a great game. Any predictions on what's going to happen?
Well, we're doing the game for Rowlett, but we're going to go overtime scoreless, and we're going to go 5 overtimes. And it'll be over in 30 minutes.
It'll be over in 30 minutes, we have a new coach there. Can we talk a little bit about him and his legacy?
Sure.
He's a South Garland grad, and the beautiful thing about him is he's very humble. But he was Allen's offensive coordinator when they won state, and they went like
in Waco Midway
52-4. Then he took as an offensive coordinator, make a way to the state finals, and the guy's a winner.
You mentioned Cliff Odenwald coming here. Why would he come here? This guy could have gone anywhere in the state with his resume, and he came here.
And the thing what I loved about it is he knew that Rowlett was a great opportunity to rebuild because the programs here need his touch, and he has brought in some stellar coaches for other sports. So I'm gonna let all listeners know Rowlett's on the rise.
Good.
They got a phenomenal principal, Carmen Blakey.
We've already had her on. I love talking to her.
She is top notch. She was my daughter's principal whenever she was a middle school principal, and I'm going to tell you, Rowlett, man, if the people that choose Rowlett are going to be more than happy on the outcome.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. You all, God bless you. Take
Appreciate
care.
It. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Ricardo Lopez, the superintendent of schools here in Garland. I did a little recording of Rowlett's playoff chances, kind of if they were to win tonight, and if they were to lose tonight, what would be their playoff positioning for the coming weeks. And we're going to play that for you right now, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of the playoffs, Rowlett's playoff chances when I'm done. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to take a few minutes here at halftime to explain, this is going into tonight's game, to explain Rowlett's playoff chances, win or lose tonight. Now, their chances are diminishing as this year goes on. For instance, if they were to win out, including tonight, they still would not be guaranteed a playoff berth, although they'd be real close. If they went 4-0 the rest of the way, all they would need is one Wiley loss to make the playoffs. But that's how critical really tonight's game is. North Garland, one of the teams that they're battling with for those final two playoff spots. So let's say they were to beat North Garland tonight, they could lose two of their final three games, including losses to Garland and Saxe, and still make the playoffs, but they would need a lot of help with at least two losses from Wiley and one from North Garland, as well as going 1-2. So it would help to beat either Garland and Naaman Forest as well as Lakeview. In other words, win 2 out of 3. That would increase their chances. But remember, that's with a win tonight. Let's say they lose tonight. A loss tonight just about cripples them, but they would still stay in the playoff hunt. Let's say they were to lose tonight, they would be in 6th place, one game behind both Wiley and North Garland. The two teams they will have already lost to if they lose tonight. So that's why their chances would be very slim. So in other words, even though they'd be one game behind Wiley and North Garland, they will have already lost to both those schools. So really that's like by being 2 games down to those two schools, and both of those schools would have to lose twice, or Naaman Forest would have to just go into a free fall. Naaman Forest would have to lose all 3 of their remaining games, including their game with Rowlett, and the chances of that are pretty slim. So obviously tonight's game is very important to North Garland's chances. The standings going in, Garland is 4-0 after beating Saxe last night. Saxe is 3-1, tied for second with Naaman Forest. Naaman Forest beat Wiley last night. That was a huge win in the playoff standings, for the 3rd and 4th spots. But Naaman Forest and Saxe tied for second, one game behind Garland. And then Wiley, North Garland, and Rowlett come into tonight's play with 2 losses. So that's really kind of who Rowlett, those two teams, Wiley and North Garland, are the two teams that Rowlett's really going to be battling with for those final 1-2 playoff berths as we go along. So there's a look kind of what Garland's chances are. As you can tell, this is a huge football game tonight if they have any chances of making the playoffs.
That was Scott Powell talking to you about the playoff implications of tonight's game. And we want to thank again Dr. Ricardo Lopez, Superintendent of Schools here in the Garland ISD. When we come back, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the scores around the area, and we'll get you ready for the second half of play here from Williams Stadium in Garland. Back here on 92.1 FM at KXEZ, scoreless at the half. The Raiders from North Garland and the Eagles from Rowlett. Your Rowlett Eagles tied 0-0. Both offenses struggling to get anything going. Scott Powell talked about the sort of dynamic of what the playoff situation is for both these teams and around the district. Well, I'll give you a couple of scores from around the district from tonight and last night, the Thursday players and games as well. Garland and Lakeview Centennial tonight. Garland Lakeview Centennial taking on South Garland tonight. 26-7 is the score there. They're playing at HBJ, and it is 26-7 at the half. They really in control of that are Lakeview Centennial. Last night, Garland and Saxe played with so many people there. I was actually there for a little bit of that first quarter, and it was electric to say the least because of the amount of people that were around. Garland ultimately came out on top, 54-41, but Alex Orgy put on a show for Saxe. Wiley and Garland Naaman Forest also played last night. 42-21 was that score. It was 13-7 at halftime, and then Garland Naaman Forest really took it to Wiley and ended up scoring 29 points in the second half. Teams are headed out to the field, and we are just about ready to start the second half from Williams Stadium in Garland. Scoreless Rowlett and North Garland trying to get something going on offense since North Garland won the toss to begin the game. They deferred to the second half. So the Rowlett Eagles and Jacob Martin will kick off for the first time tonight. Give you a couple of numbers before we start. We talked about at the top of the Raising Cane's halftime show. But 94 total yards for Rowlett. 61 came on one play from Devontae Crow, running it down late in the second quarter. 53 total yards of offense for North Garland. 6 first downs for them and only 2 for the Rowlett Eagles. Jacob Martin set to kick things off for Rowlett, and we are just about ready to start from Williams Stadium in Garland. The second half of football on the way. Kicked out to Taylor to the right side, caught at the 20-yard line, past the 25 on the run, past the 30 and knocked down at the 35-yard line. And that's where second half of play will start, actually officially marked down at the 38-yard line. We'll see God's Power Nawahi take over to start the second half for North Garland. This Raiders team trying to get something going, as well as the Rowlett Eagles. Both defenses have been fantastic. 6 for 13 for Nawahi, 21 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He's out there in the pistol formation. Davis behind him. Sends a man in motion. That's Gabe Harris, right to left. Play action, quarterback keeper out to the left side, catches outside the numbers and out of bounds. A flag comes in well late on the other side, away from the play. In the area of holding, it looks like. But that's Scott Powell, who's good at predicting those kind of things, not me.
Well, you got it right.
1 for 1. I think I'm going to stop there. In my career on 100%. 11:48 on the clock, and a holding will push them back 10 yards.
I know Jeff Bannister did.
That's right. That's right. Look at you with the trivia.
1 for 1 at the plate in his career.
It'll be second down. They did not take the penalty.
Did not? Maybe it was. Wow. It had to be. You'd think
right,
a 10-yard penalty.
Empty backfield for Nawahi. Claps his hands, takes the snap, throws out to the right side, and picked off! Picked off! Michael Ibuku and Okeoti. Open space. Touchdown, Rowlett.
I don't think he saw Ibukon Okeoti.
Ridiculous.
Couldn't have seen him.
God's Power Nawahi, snap pass to the right side, and Michael Ibuku Okeoti, the SMU commit, snatched it out of the air and took it to the house for the first score of the game, 6-0 Rowlett. Wow. Jacob Martin on for the extra point try. And what a way to break open the scoring. First drive, and of course, it's a defensive play. Good snap, good hold, good kick. Jacob Martin, 7-0 Rowlett, 11:40 on the clock.
Penalty marker, the right end for North Garland was offside. They'll just decline it and take the point.
Absolutely, 7-0, 11:40 on the clock in the third quarter. You're listening to 92.1 FM, KXEZ.
Don't forget, if you can't get us here at 92.1, we stream all the Rowlett games. You can get us at TuneIn Radio, KXEZ.com. Hear us anywhere in the world. If you can't get us at 92.1, let the out-of-town friends and family know that we do stream these broadcasts. Our title sponsors tonight are Raising Cane's, Certified Foundation, C3 Church, Trophy Nissan, Belfiore Spa and Salon, North Texas Appliance, Shelley Dietrich State Farm, and their strength in numbers. Join the Rowlett Chamber of Commerce today and go see those friendly folks at North Texas Appliance. Don't forget about the scratch and dent appliances. Sometimes they are hard to find, but those scratch and dents can be purchased at reduced prices. First quality appliances also on sale at good prices. North Texas Appliance in Rockwall.
Jacob Martin kicks this one off, fielded by Howard Mateo down the left sideline, and finally knocked out of bounds after it's fielded at the 20-yard line, knocked out just a yard shy of midfield. That was Mateo Howard. And at the 49-yard line, North Garland will take over right there, coming off that pick six thrown by God's Power Nawahi. With 11:33 on the clock, it's 7-0 Rowlett.
And they're going to pick up the penalty marker that was thrown for some reason. We'll never know what.
This is a team, this North Garland team, put up 34 points against Saxe last week. Or 2 weeks ago, and it's kind of crazy that they're holding them to 0. They're shutting them out, this Rowlett defense.
Again, they're controlling the quarterback, which I was told was the key, according to Saxe's head coach. He got outside on that first series of the second half, but he got nothing out of it. In other words, they strung him out very well.
Empty backfield, quarterback draw out to the left side, past the outside numbers on the left side, and out of bounds. Gain of about 5 on the play will bring up 2nd and 5 from close to midfield.
Not many quarterbacks are also your leading rusher, and so far he's got almost nothing in the way of yardage.
There'll be a gain of 4 on the play, 2nd and 6 from the 47-yard line, going left to right, empty backfield for Noai. Trips to the right side, 2 to the left side. Awaits the snap, takes it. Screen pass out to the left side, bobbled. Finally brought down, but it'll be a loss of 1 on the play. The receiver for North Garland on that one was Justin Hinton. Hinton does a little bit of wide out on both sides of the formation, right and left. That time lined up wide left. This time he's going to line up wide right. Trips to the right side, and now he goes back to the left side of the formation. Doubles wide receiver set for God's Power Noai. Jaden Davis to the right of him at running back. From the 46-yard line, 3rd and 6. Quarterback Eber up the middle is Noai. He breaks tackles past the 50-yard line, past the 45 in Rowlett territory, down the left sideline, past the 30 and out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Big first down for North Garland on the answer after the pick 6 by Michael Ibuku and Okeohe broke the scoring. 7-0, Rowlett leads.
Well, there's the Noai we had heard about right there.
First time we've seen him break one for that long.
As he was grabbed around the line of scrimmage and not able to hold on was Jabril Betts. And then he got free down the far sideline. Showed pretty good speed there. Showed why he's such a good runner.
Davis moves from left to right. Quarterback keeper all the way to the right side for Noai and shot down behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1 to the 28-yard line, bringing up 2nd and 11. Again, the defensive line for Rowlett has been outstanding. Anchored down by Michael Ibuku and Okeohe and Ja'Cory Brown. Division I commits on the end for Coach Derek Alford in this defense.
Mention this wind again. It's let up a little bit, but it's still blowing a pretty steady 10, sometimes 15 miles an hour. North Garland has it at their back here in the 3rd. Rowlett will get it in the 4th.
2nd and 11 from the 28-yard line. Flags come flying in.
Procedure.
And there it is.
We've seen a lot of 5-yard penalties tonight.
Well, most of them come from Rowlett. That was just the 3rd penalty of the game, but they have been 5-yarders on those false starts for North Garland. Their 3rd false start of the game, their 3rd penalty of the game. That brings up 2nd and 16 from the 33-yard line. Doubles wide receiver set, and the shotgun is Noai. He drops back, looks right, pulls it down, takes off, past the 30, past the 25, dives forward, past the 20. A first down for North Garland in Hawaii. They'll get marked down at the 13-yard line.
Kind of looked like a planned late quarterback draw. In other words, it wasn't just a step back.
Right.
He stepped way back looking downfield, but it almost looked like it was planned from the get-go. And they're finally turning him loose here in the second half. Again, I think that was a planned run. They were very conservative in the first half, just simple handoffs. They never really put any pressure on their quarterback's shoulders. Looks like it's his game to win or lose so far here in the second half.
9:20 and counting in the 3rd. Throw to the end zone, but whistles come in, flags come flying in before the play gets going. 7-0 Rowlett over North Garland. And another 5-yard false start by North Garland. Their 2nd of this drive pushes them back 5 yards. 9:15 on the clock. 7-0 Rowlett after the pick 6 by their fantastic defensive lineman, Okeohe. This ball will be spotted at the 22-yard line now. It is first down, so it's 1st and 15. Like you mentioned, Scott, they are kicking with the wind, so we might if they can't get the ball any further, if they on this drive, we might see a field goal tryout for this one.
Well, it's funny you say that. They've only tried one field goal all year long, and they've missed 3 extra points. So this is not a big place-kicking team. Right now, it would be a 39-yard attempt. So only one try all year for an offense that averages 36 points a game tells me they just haven't. They either don't have a kicker that they can rely on, or they don't need a kicker.
Right. You're saying it's 4th down territory with 9:15 on the clock in the third quarter. 7-0.
The box over there says first down. They're giving them a first. It's after the 5-yard. It's 1st and 15.
1st and 15 from the 18-yard line. Play action. No. Hand up the middle. It goes to Jaden Davis. He'll get a couple on the play to the 21. Now they're saying he pushed the pile inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. I meant to say 16-yard line just a second ago. 8:55 and counting here in the third quarter.
Yeah, this is not a situation where you want a kicker who's 0 for 1 on the year to become a factor in a 7-0 defensive struggle, but it may come down to a kick here in a moment.
2nd and 11 from the 14-yard line. They stack the left side of the formation with a couple of tight ends. Now Jaden Davis moves from right to left of Nawai. He takes the snap, rolls out to the left side, quarterback sweep, off to the left, outside the numbers. He cuts it upfield, past the 15 and 10-yard line.
One of his protectors, as he was rolling left, reached out and grabbed the defender, and it was let me tell you something. When I see it, it's pretty obvious. And this is going to be holding against North Garland, so you can bring this back.
Penalty on the play, and another.
Although, depending on where they were going to mark it, Ethan, they were going to mark it like 7 yards short of the first down, it appears. So you might consider declining this, but I think I'd rather have 2nd and 16 than, 3rd and 7 or something like that.
Well, to start this drive, we saw Coach Derek Alford decline a 5-yard or a holding penalty.
Yeah, already. First down. Yeah,
on first down. Correct.
Very unusual to make it a 2nd and 9 instead of a 1st and 20. Of course, it was also deep in the territory, but still.
He's banking on his defense to stop them again.
That shows a lot of confidence in your defense, doesn't it?
It'll be 2nd and long, 2nd and 21 to be exact. Dropping back is Nawai. He has some space. Pressure collapses. He throws this one in the end zone. Jump ball and incomplete, but a flag. Tajay Librero was the defender in the area. And the receiver on the play, as there's a little bit of chirping going on down there by the players. It was Jaden Davis down there.
He kind of reached around him and grabbed him a little bit. It looked like it might have been a good call. He was trying to time it where he arrived at the time the ball did. And I think he might have arrived a little early. We're hoping to get a replay on the big screen over here to the left. But just at first glance, would you think that was a good call or not?
I think so. I think they got a little tied up down there, and nice call, correct call it looked like.
Well, they're gonna, no replay on the board, and they're going to put it down. It looks like, they haven't even moved the chains at all.
The intended receiver was Isaiah DeLeon.
Where are they putting this down at? The 4? Or the chains are still where they were.
Right.
They're going to put it down at the 12, which is half the distance from the 24, so that makes sense. But it is an automatic first down on the pass interference.
Absolutely. Now they get to the 12-yard line. 7:51 in the third quarter.
And remember, that was 3rd and a long way, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Tight ends in the ball game. Handed up the middle to Davis, and Davis dancing around, breaking tackles inside the 5, reaches for the goal line, but he's a yard short.
Well, give credit for the touchdown-saving tackle. He had one man to beat, and Emmanuel Evans made a good form tackle and then held on because Davis is a strong runner, strong legs, and he didn't want to go down. And again, a great open field tackle to save the 6 as we've got a timeout.
North Garland was moving quickly in a late substitution for Rowlett, and Coach Derek Alford elects to burn one of his timeouts.
Why don't we keep it right here so we don't miss anything?
7:41 on the clock.
And remind you that 92.1 is your Metroplex home for A&M football and men's basketball. Tomorrow the Aggies play at Missouri. We'll be on the air with the pregame at 10, kickoff at 11, full coverage right here on 92.1 FM KXEZ. Lakeview Car Wash, one of our sponsors tonight, Golden Rule Auto Care, and the Rowlett Eagle Football Booster Club. Remember, we are your official home for Rowlett football. We'll be back again next week back here at Williams, a 7 o'clock kickoff. That'll be Thursday night, 6 nights from now, against Naaman Forest. Could be another key game in Rowlett's push to try and make the playoffs this season. Our pregame coverage at 6:45 with the coaches show, kickoff at 7. And don't forget, we'll have Caddo Mills next Friday, a week from tonight, as they play Nevada Community at home. Pregame right here at 7:15, kickoff 7:30.
First and goal from the 2-yard line. Fumble the snap. Hawaii takes it to the right side. Broken play, fighting for the corner of the end zone and hit hard. Joseph Brock, huge play to save a touchdown. Hawaii had some space, was going to reach for that pylon, and Joseph Brock lit him up on the right side of the field, right next to out of bounds, and a loss of 2 on the play. From the 1 to the 3. Bringing up second and goal with 7:15. It's 7-0 Rowlett over North Garland. The only offense from both of these teams has come from Rowlett's defense on a pick 6 by Michael Ibukun Okeoti.
Well, they're going to have to kind of hurry here. We're nearing 10 on the play clock now. They're going to come right to the line of scrimmage, 9-8. You don't need a 5-yard penalty from the 3-yard line. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. They're ready to snap it, and they do.
Shotgun for Hawaii. He drops back, looks to the right side, breaks out of the pocket, finds the back of the end zone. A low pass and incomplete. Hit a man wide open down there with nobody around. It was the big-time receiver, Justin Hinton, for North Garland.
Yeah, the shame is he was wide open. They just lost track of him in the back of the end zone. Not only was it low, it was to his right, so he had to dive and try and pick it off the carpet. So now here they go on 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. Shotgun for Hawaii. A man jumped offsides, but he throws it to the back of the end zone and incomplete. A flag on the play and another flag.
It's going to be pass interference.
Both look flags. There's 2 on the play, on the field.
There was one official within 2 steps of the play who did not call it. The other official was about 5 yards away, and he did call it. I think it was a good call. I had it in my binoculars. I think he was draped all over. I couldn't believe they didn't call it in the beginning, and then here came in from that second official a little bit later, and I'm not surprised at all. So you'll decline the offsides. Either way, it's a 1.5-yard walk-off, Ethan, but the key being, if you take the pass interference, it'll be an automatic first down.
Right, so now it'll be 1st and goal from about the 1.5-yard line. And it'll be a bunch formation. Under center goes God's Power Hawaii. Jaden Davis lines up behind him. And it's a quarterback keeper for the goal line. Touchdown, North Garland.
I love the play call. Normally you would just see the sneak right up the middle, and Rowlett had everything converging toward the middle, and he just had the quickness to get to the outside immediately and score untouched. If your quarterback's not very quick, that's not a good call, but they took advantage of his quickness.
God's Power Hawaii ran that one in from 1 yard out. And on for the extra point try.
All-important one. High snap.
Maddox Lopez gets it down. The holder gets it down. He kicks this one up, and it's good.
The reason I stressed all-important is they've missed 3 extra points this season kicking. They've only got 1 field goal attempt all year. Now, Rowlett was offside. They're going to decline it, but there are no givens with North Garland's place kicking, and they got it and tied the game.
Maddox Lopez ties the game up 7-7, 6:37 in the 3rd. Rowlett, North Garland, our 92.1 FM at KXEZ. Back on 92.1 FM, KXEZ. Tied ball game, 7-7, 6:37 in the 3rd. A 1-yard quarterback keeper from God's Power Hawaii puts North Garland on the board and ties it up. Long drive for them. Scott Powell will have that for you just here in a bit.
Oh, it was 57 yards, but 11 plays, and by far the longest possession of the game. 4.5 minutes to go, 57 yards, several penalties. It was an ugly possession, but they tied it at 7.
Maddox Lopez kicks this one off for North Garland, fielded at the 5-yard line for Rowlett. It was the sophomore Julius Inahos getting his first playing time of the year. First time we've seen him all year long.
Again, the importance of this game, the winner will finish the evening in 4th place, tied for 4th with Wiley in this district. The loser will fall to 6th place in a game out of 4th. And, the top 4 go to the playoffs. Rowlett's chances greatly increase with a win here tonight. If Rowlett loses this game tonight, their chances are very slim of making the playoffs down the road.
James Okolo gets on the offensive side for the first time in the second half. Hands this one off to Devontae Crow off the left tackle and hit down. A gain of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9. First time we've seen the Rowlett offense because of the beautiful play by the Rowlett defense. Score on the pick 6.
What a job this Rowlett defense has done tonight. Rowlett's offense tonight has 2 first downs and 94 yards, and they're tied 7-7. 2 first downs from their offense all night long.
Approaching 6 minutes to go here in the second half, or in the third quarter. Trips to the right side, quarterback keeper all the way. It's Okolo. He has some space. That's at 35 and dropped down at around the 37-yard line, but a flag came in.
Kind of late on the flag.
I thought I saw a flag.
Boy, I don't see one.
I do. It's in the 3 and the 30, hiding in the in the chalk down there.
Probably some illegal block here. And it is coming back. It's a spot foul though, holding downfield. So It's going to end up near the original line. It's going to be the always uncomfortable 2nd and 12 coming, or 1st and 12, 2nd and 12.
5:52 on the clock here in the third. Tie ball game, 7-7. Devontae Crow back in at running back to the right of James Okolo. Stacked receivers, 2 on either side of the formation. From the left hash mark, going right to left. Okolo drops back, rolls out to the right side, has a man downfield. It's Trey Long, but he overshot him. Had a step on his defensive back that was covering him, but Okolo just missed him out of the reach of Trey Long. 3rd down and 12.
Are you ready for the ugly stat of the night?
Let's hear it.
Quote-unquote ugly stat of the night. Rowlett has 9 more penalties than first downs.
That is hurt. Whoa.
It hurts
9.
to hear it.
I thought you were going to say 9 more penalties than North Garland, but 9 penalties, 1 more than first downs. That's astounding.
Yeah.
2 receivers on either side. 3rd and 12 for Okolo. Drops back, rolls out to the right side, directs traffic. Looks downfield, tries to get outside, fires to the first down marker, and incomplete. A couple of Eagles in the area. It was Kingston Johnson and Trey Long, incomplete, 4th and 12.
Actually, it makes the penalties look a lot less important to say there's only 9 more than first down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The key has been the defense all game long for Rowlett. And this is a team that put up 34 points on Saxe, who is the number 2 team in this district.
Martin having to punt into the wind. Again, it's back to a steady 10-15. Almost a little bit of a crossing wind. This is not a true north to south field.
DeForest Taylor back to receive for North Garland. Martin, line drive punt, out to the left side, takes the hop. Taylor picks it up off the bounce, fields it at the 47. Goes past the 45-yard line. A flag comes in away from the play on the short side of the field, and Taylor was knocked down to the 42.
You know, Martin figured out early on he's got to kick it low and straight into the wind, which he's done a great job of. But the problem is it leads to good returns, and the return yardage has been pretty good tonight for North Garland. With a kid who all year has been returning the ball well. You know, to say nowadays that you had 143 punt return yards through the first 6 games, punt returns are a thing of the past. That's kind of like the huddle. It's kind of out with the game of football right now.
Penalty on North Garland.
That's a huge penalty. They're going to start in their own territory instead of Rowlett territory because of it.
Instead of being at the 45 of Rowlett, they'll be at their own 45, going left to right. On the right hash mark, pistol formation for Hawaii. Hayden Davis, make it Jaden Davis behind him. Man in motion, Gabe Harris, right to left, the tight end. 2 receivers on the left side. Play action, rolling out to the right, steps up. Here comes the pressure from Rowlett and just throws it away. Does God's power in Hawaii in. Chasing him down was that big man, Michael Ibuku Okeoti, and now a flag comes in late by the referee.
Ooh, I hope this isn't, they roughed the quarterback. That's the call. It's going to be 15-yard walk-off. No, that's a shame. No. Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding.
You're right. Good job. Good eye there. He was not out of the pocket, and you also have to get it beyond the line of scrimmage. He just kind of threw it straight left.
Well, if I saw Michael Ibuku Okeoti chasing me down, I'd definitely do the same thing he did.
Boy, Rowlett's done a great job from the edge tonight. A lot of the pressures come from either the corner or the defensive end, especially Okeoti all night long.
5:23 on the clock. It'll be 2nd and long. 2nd and 21.
So you lose the down and the yardage. That's why that is such a huge penalty. If you do it in the end zone, it's a safety.
Tie ball game at 7. Man in motion. Jet sweep to the left side and hit hard the line of scrimmage. Going nowhere was Mateo Howard. Officially, it'll be a pass from Godspower Nawai because he pitched it forward just a bit. And it'll be 3rd and 21.
They got to get all the way to the Rowlett 45.
Sitting at their 34-yard line. It was a promising start to the drive, it looked like. But then the two penalties, pushed them way back. And it's 3rd and 21, 5:12 on the clock in the 3rd. Rowlett defense has been outstanding. Trips to the right side from the left hash mark. Davis in motion, left to right. Whistles come in. Timeout by North Garland and Coach Joe Castile.
Why don't we take a 30-second timeout here on 92.1 FM, KXEZ.
FM, KXEZ, Rowlett 7, North Garland 7. It's been a defensive kind of game, and the defense has scored for Rowlett. But now trying to force a 4th down. It's 3rd and 21. North Garland from their own 34-yard line. The snap, empty backfield for Nawai. He steps up. Pressure comes. Brought down from behind at the 40-yard line. Donovan Moore came in for the Rowlett Eagles. Nawai tried to tuck it and run, but only gets to the 41-yard line. A gain of 7 on the play, but it's 4th.
On
and 14.
On 3rd and 20 in a 7-7 game, I think that was almost like a field position play. Get as much as you can, and that way you're further down when you punt the ball away. Almost like the old-fashioned draw handoff of the 60s.
So it'll bring up,
the days when they huddled and actually ran the ball. Remember those days in the 60s?
Yeah, when I was not born, I was wrecking shop in Pee Wee. That's why. Look at this play. Formation all the way to the right side, but the punt gets away by Lopez and caught at the 25-yard line. And Rowlett will take over right there. An odd play, punt formation. That was Donovan Moore to return and receive for Rowlett, but they had a whole offensive line, pretty much 4 offensive linemen on the far numbers and only 3 in front of the punter, and they punted away.
Eagle sponsors tonight Advantage Storage, Chick-fil-A, Chiloso's Mexican Bistro, First Baptist Church of Rowlett, Whataburger, Ultimate Driving School, Super Shack Seafood Grill, Sign Guy DFW, Shenanigans, Rowlett Food, Richardson Methodist Medical Center, the Musgrove Agency, Jersey Mike Subs, and Jason's Deli.
Jason's sponsors. James Okola on the end around. It's a reverse. They hand it to Crow, fake it to Crow, hand it to Johnson on the reverse, and a huge play on 1st down to go from the 25-yard line to the 47. 22-yard play, if I'm not mistaken, if my math is correct. 23-yard run on the reverse by Kingston Johnson.
On your checks and balances.
Exactly. Trips to the right side. Shotgun for James Okolo. Devontae Crow out in front of him, and a far throw to the flat. It was an out route, actually, to Trey Long. They finally complete a pass. They've been trying to hook up all half long. They get this one down to the 45-yard line. They're in North Garland territory. It'll be 2nd and 3 from the 45, going right to left.
84 of their 120 yards of offense have come on 2 long runs.
Stack trips to the right side of the formation. Okolo in a shotgun. Crow to the left of him. Quarterback keeper. He's got some space. Past the 45. Makes a move past the 40. Flag comes in on the play. 2 flags come in now. One very late. One came on the tackle. One came after the fact. 3:08 on the clock. It's 7-7.
And the third one looks like a popcorn box. Seriously. Or a large Dr. Pepper cup. By the way, for what it's worth, this is one of the shortest referees I've ever seen. He is 3'0" at best.
He comes up to the shoulder pads of James Okola, and James Okola stands about 5'10".
He could be knee pads for Okola.
And now Okola talks to his offensive line, tells him to play. Stacked receivers on the outside of the formation, 2 on each. Claps his hands, takes the snap, play action. Okola shifts his feet, rolls to the right, fires a dart to Trey Long at the 40-yard line. He gets past the 35 and a big first down for Rowlett. James Okola really put something behind that one, and this ball is moving along with the chain for the Rowlett Eagles.
Gain of 16, a little bit of a hook route into that zone between the linebackers and the safeties. He was wide open. Good strike from Okola. Good hard throw. It took a hard throw. It had to get there in a hurry, and it did.
2:30 and counting in the third quarter, 7-7 Rowlett in North Garland. It's a stalemate right now. Trips to the right side. They're stacked near the numbers. Okola rolls out to the right side. Crow in front of him. Throws this one on the run. Tipped by a couple of North Garland defensive players. And incomplete will bring up 2nd and 10 from the 34-yard line. They get to 33.
Tried to throw the needle, and Anthony Mata leaped in there and knocked it away at the last second, or he would have thread that needle. I mean, there were 3 defenders surrounding the receiver, and he almost got the job done.
2nd and 10 with 2:17 on the clock in the third. Tie ball game at 7. A pick 6 and a 1-yard run. Pick 6 for Rowlett, 1-yard run for North Garland. Has the score at a touchdown apiece. Okola trips to the right side, hands it to Crow. Sweep out to the right side, has some space. Past the 35, past the 30, and tripped up at the 29-yard line. Gain of about 4 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 6.
Great job by Gabe Harris to trip him up from behind, or he had blockers out in front. That might have gone the distance with his quickness.
Crow has had a nice game filling in for Colton Yarbrough, who is out today and was out last week as well. Last game as well. He had a bye.
36, probably 4-down territory. It'd be about a 47-yard field goal into the wind from here.
From the 29-yard line, man in motion right to left. That's Kingston Johnson. They play action to Crow, and he misses Johnson, who was wide open in the swing pass and had some space in front of him, probably had the first down. But now with the incomplete pass, we'll bring up 4th and 6 from the 29-yard line. We'll see what Coach Derek Alford elects to do.
Probably would not have gone the distance. They had 3 defenders over here to just 1 blocker, so they probably would have gotten him, but it definitely would have gotten him a first down. And now, being 4th down, they're going to at least try and draw him outside and maybe go for it here. It would be a 46-yard attempt if they tried it into the wind.
They're going for it. Okola drops back. Swing pass out to Crow on the right side. Has some space. That's the 20. Gets the first down and brought down inside the 15. A nice play by James Okola and Devontae Crow. Pitch and catch. First down, Rowlett.
Gosh, what do you know? A play without a penalty marker. Not even a popcorn box.
Beautiful play. Gets them to the 14-yard line. 1st and 10 from there to 1:27 on the clock.
And a 3rd down conversion to boot, which had been rare tonight.
Trips to the right side with the tight end into the ball game. Okola in the shotgun. Crow to the left of him. Checks back with the sideline, now looks back at his line. Hands the ball off to Crow. He's got some space inside the 10, 5. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Rowlett. Devontae Crow from 14 yards out. And Rowlett has taken the lead here in the third with 1:09 on the clock.
Well, give credit to the right tackle and then the co-running back, Kingston Johnston, tied up the cornerback who wanted to come in and make that tackle, but he had him completely engaged, did not let go, and the blocking down, everybody got their block. That was the key, and that's why it was such an easy touchdown.
What a drive by Rowlett. Jacob Martin on for the extra point try to make it a 7-point game. Hold is down, kick is up, right through the uprights. And it's 14-7. Rowlett over North Garland with 1:09 in the third. This is 92.1 FM KXEZ.
This is the Possum, 92.1 KXEZ, Farmersville, Dallas, and KXEZ.com.
92.1 FM KXEZ. Rowlett, 14-yard run by Devontae Crow. Makes it a 14-7 ball game. 1:09 on the clock in the third.
Scoring drive, 75 yards in 7 plays.
Best drive of the day by far for Rowlett.
3 minutes off the clock.
2 touchdowns for the Eagles. 1 defensively by the defensive lineman, their star defensive lineman. And then their running back has really emerged these past few weeks. Their junior running back, Devontae Crow, carried that last drive.
It's kind of fun this weekend. It's the first time you and I have seen Rowlett have a lead in the second half of a football game this year.
Absolutely. Ball kicks up, hit down at the 30-yard line, and now bobbled. It goes to the 20. And North Garland a little bit in panic mode as Isaiah DeLeon, it went off of his hands, and he finally dives on it at the 20-yard line. And North Garland will take over right there at the helm for them is God's Power Hawaii.
Yeah, I mentioned in the pregame, Rowlett has owned this North Garland team. They've beaten them 11 straight times, the last 11 meetings, by an average of 25 points a game.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of like the karma coming into this one, but, North Garland had to be a favorite going into this game, you would think.
Absolutely. 4-2 record overall. 2, Rowlett's 1-5. Hawaii drops back after he takes the snap, looks down the right sideline, has a man in double coverage, and somehow, in and out of the hands of the fantastic receiver, Isaiah DeLeon. I thought he threaded the needle right there between those two defensive backs for Rowlett. But it'll be incomplete.
I think Rowlett would tell you they should have picked it off, and I think North Garland would tell you I maybe should have caught that.
Joseph Brock shaking his head a bit after that, knowing he should have had an interception.
When Brock doesn't make the play, Superman wasn't on hand.
Jaden Ellis also on the pass breakup.
When Brock doesn't make the play, that the phone booth wasn't open.
He is absolutely super. The past few games, the past couple of months now for Rowlett. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Hawaii hands it to Davis. Off the left guard, fights forward, still on his feet, and the pile gets pushed to the 27-yard line, making it a 3rd and 3. With 45 seconds to go in the third quarter, Rowlett leads 14-7.
Key situation here, 40 seconds and counting. If North Garland were to punt before the quarter's over, they'd have the win at their back. If somehow Rowlett can change that and make them punt into the win, that could be a big change in field position.
3rd and 3 from the 27. Hawaii hands it to Davis, but flags and whistles come in.
In other words, if it becomes 4th down, they'll be surprised if North Garland takes a timeout so they can punt with the win.
Well, a false start pushes them back 5 yards. So instead of 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and 8.
And remember, they should rewind this clock. Yes, so the clock is now at 25 and counting. Are they aware of the situation, and is it worth a timeout? Yeah, I know it's still 3rd down, but would it be worth a timeout?
Well, also, they have 2 timeouts. They burned one earlier in the quarter.
Yeah,
so I don't know if Coach Castillo is going to want to burn another one right now. 10 seconds in the third.
They're barely going to get the 3rd down play off before the end of the quarter.
3rd and 8, and Hawaii takes the snap. Pump fakes to the right side, now moves to the left, reverses field, comes to the right side, and Okoyote comes in, knocks the ball out. Or no? Yes, he knocked it out. Michael Ibuku and Okoyote strip sacks the quarterback, and Rowlett takes possession.
That's because the quarterback was holding it way down to his side. Now, in my day, they called it holding it like a loaf of bread. Myself, I've never left the store with a loaf of bread all the way held down, all the way down to my knee. Have you? But in the old days, they used to call that holding it like a loaf of bread. I never got it. But anyway, he was kind of hot dogging it, holding the ball way down. That's not very smart when you're running through a defensive line full of defenders. Maybe in the open field, but that was not a very smart play.
Michael Ibuku and Okoyote has his second takeaway for himself of the game in the third for Rowlett. Fourth quarter coming, 14-7. Rowlett ball. Rowlett lead over North Garland on 92.1 FM at KXEZ. Back on 92.1 FM at KXEZ. Start of the fourth quarter. Rowlett football after the takeaway and the strip sack from Michael Ibuku and Okoyote. Been the defensive player of the game so far. 14-7, reverse again, ball on the ground. And Kingston Johnson hands it off. Okola and him talking to each other to get on the same page. They ran that play before, and it got them 27 yards. This time, not nearly as much. They lost about 5.
I wonder if Johnson plays point guard on the basketball team. He literally dribbled that ball. It hit the ground, popped up a little bit, and he dribbled it back to the ground and up into his chest. It was like he was playing with a basketball instead of a football.
2nd and 14 from the 28-yard line, 27-yard line. Swing pass out to the left side to Devontae Crow. It looked like get back to the original line of scrimmage, but no, they'll say he got back to the line of scrimmage now at the 27.
You'd love to get into reasonable field goal range. Even if you don't get the first down all the way to the 14, you can get a little closer. I don't have any stats on the Rowlett kicker, but they usually have a good kicker, and isn't it the same as the punter?
Yes, Jacob Martin.
We've seen him hit some, right?
Yes, he's been fantastic. He's only hit 2, but he's only attempted 2. Swing pass out to the right side, all the way to McGallion, who gets his first target of the ball game, and it will be an incomplete pass to bring up 4th.
Here comes Martin, and it's going to be about a 44-yard attempt, but the wind, remember how key was getting the ball to start the 4th quarter. Now they got the wind at their back. It's on the left hash, not a great angle for right foot kicker. You got to kind of push it just a little bit when you're on the left hash. But 44, if it wasn't within his range, I don't think they'd be trying it here.
Ty Cooper to hold. Jacob Martin to kick.
For the lead.
14-7
Or
to
to
score.
increase the lead, excuse me.
Low snap, the kick gets, hold gets down, the kick gets up, it's got the distance, and it's through. Jacob Martin. 3 points on the board for Rowlett. 17-7, a big-time kick from that Jacob Martin. He has been amazing, the senior. 17-7, 10:47 on the clock. Rowlett does take the lead, and a big-time kick.
Thanks again to our title sponsors tonight, Shelley Dietrich State Farm, North Texas Appliance, Belfiore Spa and Salon. Their strength in numbers. Join the Rowlett Chamber of Commerce today. Trophy Nissan, C3 Church, Certified Foundation, and Raising Cane's, also our halftime show guest that brought you the superintendent of the Garland ISD, Dr. Ricardo Lopez. North Texas Appliance, go see those friendly folks at North Texas Appliance. They're at 1535 East I-30, about a mile from the football stadium on the South Service Road. You can go by or call 972-771-0393. North Texas Appliance of Rockwall. Don't forget, we'll have the Aggies tomorrow in Missouri to take on the University of Missouri. That's a 11 o'clock kick. 10 o'clock pregame right here on 92.1. We are your home for A&M football and men's basketball in the Metroplex. That scoring drive, by the way, just 2 plays to go 23 yards. It stalled out, actually, in 3 plays, and they got the field goal, but a big field goal, and now a 10-point lead for Rowlett at 17-7. Martin with a 44-yarder, who mostly has been a punter tonight. He's had a lot of work at punter and has done a pretty good job in some very unfavorable wind conditions.
Martin, who's done the couple of kickoffs for Rowlett, is out of it right now, and Jack Hager will kick off for the Eagles and gets this one into the end zone for a touchback. 10:47 on the clock in the third, a 10-point lead for the Rowlett Eagles, 17-7. We were scoreless at the half, and then a quick pick six on the first play of the second half by Michael Ibuka-Okeoti made it 7-0. Then a long drive from North Garland got them down to the 1, and a 1-yard run by God's Power Hawaii made it 7-7.
And as we go along here, the second half will remind you of the importance of this game, the playoff positioning. A win tonight for Rowlett is much bigger than a loss tonight, and right now they're up by 10 points. We'll talk about it as we go along.
Hawaii in the shotgun, 2 receivers on either side. Quick pass out to the left side and incomplete, overshot his receiver. For North Garland, that was Justin Hinton. 2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line.
Big thing here is, how often have we been able to say this year for Rowlett when they're back on offense to almost go into a shell and be very conservative. You don't want to give them short drives. You want to be conservative, and you're into the field and start playing like you're a 10-point leader right now.
Hawaii drops back, has some space, rolls out to the right side. He's at the 25-yard line, plants his feet, now goes back to the left side. Got to be some holding right here as he goes out and knocked down before he gets back to the line of scrimmage. No, they'll give him a 1-yard gain. Looked like a circus out there as he was going from left to right, back to left. And a 1-yard gain, ran about 50 yards before it's 3rd and 9.
Did you notice the wall that moved in front of him over to his right, and all those defenders set up a wall over there? And then he started to move to his left, and a new wall formed over here. That's been the key all night, is keeping him contained and not letting him get outside and get down the sideline.
The closing speed has been outstanding by this defense. 182 yards to the air for God's Power last game against Saxe, and 131 on the ground.
You just made a good point. I think the big difference in these two teams tonight is Rowlett's speed on defense compared to North Garland. I think that's been the difference in this game.
Flag comes in before the snap.
Especially on the edges, as we've talked about all night. Most of the pressures come from the outside for Rowlett defensively.
And a penalty against North Garland will push them back 5 yards on a false start. And penalties have really racked up for them this half. In the fourth quarter, it's 9:45, 17-7. Rowlett over North Garland. Make it 8 penalties now for North Garland when they had 2 at halftime.
Yeah,
one at halftime.
They've kind of self-destructed in the second half like Rowlett did in the first half. Rowlett had 2 first downs at halftime and yet was scoreless and had a chance to win this game.
Trips to the right side. Nawai rolls out to the left side, sets his feet, throws across the field, or on the crossing route, I should say. Incomplete. The receiver on the play was Todrick Jones. The first time we've seen him. No, correction. That was Isaiah DeLeon. Incomplete pass intended for him.
Well, the scoreboard says 3rd and 14. The marker on the far side says 4th down. So which is it? Looks like it's 4th because here comes the punt team. Into the wind, and they haven't had to punt much into the wind tonight.
4th and 14 from the 21-yard line. Like you said, the first time they'll punt from this side of the field.
Having said that, the wind has let up considerably. Now it's just a light wind into their face. Can you have a light wind?
A light wind. It's very not so heavy. You can move around in it. I can understand a light wind as the punt knocks down at the 38-yard line and gets picked up at the 42 of North Garland. Good field position right now for Rowlett. 9:12 on the clock, 17-7 the score.
Doesn't the wind become a breeze when it's light?
I don't know. I'll have to check with my experts on that. We'll send that one back to our awesome engineer at the KXEZ studio. He can look that up for us.
Or he could just not care and not give us an answer, which most of you don't.
17-7 the score. 9:12 on the clock here in the fourth. Rowlett has done a fantastic job in the second half. And Okola back out there behind center to try to extend this lead and really get some time off the clock. Trips to the left side, man in at the tight end position. Hands it to Crow on the sweep at the 40-yard line. Goes out of bounds. A gain of a couple on the play will bring up 2nd and 8 from the 40.
Is that a flag or another one of those pink socks or whatever?
I do not see a flag on the play.
I do. It's over near the other 40.
That's one of the pink towels. Towels on the floor.
Or a popcorn box or something.
It does look like that. It's an odd color. It's a pink, but the light shining on it is very odd. 2 receivers on either side of Colo. Again, the reverse out to Kingston Johnson. 3rd time's a charm, they say. But this time can't get back to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1. It's 3rd and 9. They've ran that play 3 times now. The first time it worked to perfection. And the 2nd and 3rd, North Garland has been all over it. 8:45 in the fourth quarter. 17-7 the score. Because Derek Alford just trying to run the clock out. I say that they're doing these runs, but they're snapping it pretty early in the play clock. Now it's kind of running down to 10 seconds right now. 2 receivers on either side. Okolo in a shotgun. Snap is fumbled. Gets past Okolo. He picks it up and has plenty of time. Looks downfield, directs traffic, fires to the right side. Caught by Trey Long near the first down marker. At the 32-yard line. He's got it. The 31. First down, Rowlett. And the chains move.
Great job by Okola to stay calm in the pocket, evade a couple of rushers, and step into the throw, not throw it from your back foot tentatively. Step into it. He had to step into it. It took a good, hard strike at the chest, and that's where he threw it in a good pair of hands by Long. And that was a 3rd and 9, which makes it even bigger.
Now trips to the left side. The man in at tight end is Inaho, so they do a swing pass out to Devontae Crow, breaks the tackle past the 30, past the 25, the 20, 15, 10, and out of bounds near the 5-yard line. Devontae Crow, that flying eagle, inside the 5-yard line for Rowlett.
Well, if you're North Garland, you had to make the tackle on the edge. One-on-one, you're on an island. The tackle was missed, and the back is free down the sideline.
They'll officially mark him out short of the 5 at the 8-yard line. Is where he stepped out of bounds.
Well, you could almost count this game out at 24-7 because they could get 7 out of this.
7:41 on the clock. Okolo, quarterback keeper, out to the left side, past the 10, and spin move inside the 5 and knocked down. Outside the numbers, inside the 5, so it'll be 2nd and goal from the 4. Under 7.5 minutes to go in this one. 17-7 the score. Rowlett over North Garland. All the points from both teams have come in the second half. It was scoreless at halftime as both defenses were really stopping and putting a difficult spin on this offense. Now,
way this game's gone, what is it, about 8:15? 9:15, I exaggerated.
45 minutes for that first half, and now knocking on the door, the Rowlett Eagles. Trip stacked to the left side, just left of the formation. Sweep out to the left side for Crow, dancing around, fights for the goal line, and touchdown Rowlett. Devontae Crow from 4 yards out, his second touchdown of the ball game.
Well, 2 missed tackles by Crow running the ball were the key to this drive. He broke a tackle early in that long run and got free down the sideline. This time, he was hit by a flying defender about the 5, and that defender's name was Marion Richardson, and he just shed that and then had enough blocking to get it into the end zone.
6:50 on the clock now as Jacob Martin comes on for the extra point try.
Crow is not a big kid, but he ran big on that drive.
Cooper to hold, gets it down, the kick is up, and it's good. Jacob Martin makes it 24-7, 6:50 on the clock in the fourth. Rowlett over North Garland on 92.1 FM KXEZ. A 5-yard run by Devontae Crow makes it 24-7. Rowlett over North Garland, and on that extra point try, that field goal attempt, there was a unsportsmanlike conduct issued to both sides, offsetting. Not exactly who it was on, but nothing changes in terms of where the ball is going to be spotted out for the kickoff at the 40-yard line. It'll be Jack Hager out there to do the kicking for Rowlett. 6:50 on the clock in the fourth. Rowlett, like you said, Scott, kind of broke it open. This kind of, the way the game's been going, you would think it's out of reach. Martin on to kick. Taylor back to receive for North Garland. Squib kick out, hits down to the 30-yard line, pops up and caught by Howard. Dancing around past the 30-yard line, gets to the 35, and a flock of Eagles pushes them back to the 30-yard line, but forward progress gets them to the 34. 24-7, 6:41 on the clock.
Rowlett holds on to this win tonight, and I think chances are really good. 6:41, 2 timeouts, down by 17. I love Rowlett's chances. You look at the playoff picture, they now could still get into the playoffs by losing 2 of their final 3 games. They need quite a bit of help to do that, but if they could go 2-1, which would include they'd have to beat Naaman Forest next week, and then beat Lakeview, go 2-1, then their chances are really good of getting into the playoffs.
Noai gets this one. Quick pass out to the right side to Mateo Howard. Catches it on the run, but only a gain of 2 on the play to the 36-yard line. Bring up 2nd and 8 with under 6.5 to go in this one.
But in other words, what I'm trying to say is, Garland is number 1 in the district. Naaman is a strong tie for second with Saxon. In other words, this district, 3 really good teams strong, and then you got 3 teams battling for 4th. But Rowlett does not have to beat both Naaman Forest and Garland in the final 3 weeks to make the playoffs. They could get in otherwise because of this win tonight.
Trips to the left side, screen pass out to the left side to Justin Hinton. Makes the catch, and a loss of 1 on the play, actually. Makes it 39 from the 35-yard line.
And again, the key is there's 3 teams that potentially could be battling for 4th place. 4 teams go to the playoffs. Rowlett, North Garland, and Wiley. Remember, Rowlett's already lost to Wiley, so they were in the hole to begin with. If you had lost to North Garland tonight, then your chances would be just slim to none, because the 2 teams you're battling, you would have losses against. So that's why this win over North Garland would be huge tonight.
A down to Eagle. Sits at the 30-yard line. That's Isaiah Armstrong. The trainer's working on him right now.
Isn't it amazing what 1 win could do for your season?
I mean, they're 1-5 coming in.
1-5. We didn't know if the next win would even come this year.
And now, I mean, look at the spark this defense has given this team. I mean, they're so confident when the defense is rolling it is.
It's a team that's played fairly well defensively. Even in the 60-7 loss to Plano, they were fairly competitive. I mean, they're only for a team that's 1-5, they're only giving up 366 yards a game coming into this game.
Right.
Most teams that are 1-5 are giving up way over 400 yards a game.
3rd and 9 right here. This could be close to the game for North Garland. Shotgun snap for God's Power Nawai. He drops back, looks to the middle of the field, fires to the seam, and incomplete. in and out of the hands of his running back coming out of the backfield, Jaden Davis. 4th and 9 from the 35-yard line.
Davis was open and while he has not been on tonight, that pass, just a simple 5-yard pass to an open receiver, was behind him and he couldn't catch it.
And Coach Castillo elects to send the punt unit out on 4th and 9 with 5:42 in the fourth.
You know, you got to consider going for this. 5:42, even though you're at your 35.
Well, to be fair for Coach Castillo, they've stopped Rowlett most of the night. It's been 2 drives, really, the only 2 drives that they've scored and really put together a big scoring drive. So maybe that's what he's looking at. It's a fake punt. It's over his head, and the snap, it looked like it was going to be a fake punt, and now the punter kicks it from the ground out of bounds at the 5-yard line. The play was a fake punt. The punter, who is, if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Ortiz.
Okay, I missed the play. What makes you think it was a fake punt?
The fullback was supposed to grab the ball, but the snap from the long snapper, it was supposed to be a direct snap to the fullback, it looked like.
How do you know if it went way over the punter's head?
Because the punter did a fake like you would see on the fake punt.
He did he tried to disguise it by,
he tried to see like if it was snapped over his head, act like it was, but it actually was.
It actually was.
And he turned around after he saw the ball on the ground, like, what is going on? Then he just punted it to the sideline. Now the referees, they threw a flag because you're not supposed to be able to do that, but he's the punter on the punting play. We'll see what the call is exactly.
Well, you're not allowed to just intentionally kick the ball like that.
Correct.
I don't know what the yardage marked off is, or I'm sure they're not going to get to run another play. I'm sure Rowlett's probably going to, I guess Rowlett's going to get the ball right now. See, my point at being, if he faked in other words, I know what you're saying, but if it snapped over his head anyway, are you sure it was a fake?
Yeah, I think it was snapped. It was actually snapped to his left, but it snapped over the fullback's head, and that's why the kicker, punter just kind of...
But didn't it also go over the punter's head?
Correct, but it was to the left of him. It was just a bad snap in general for the long snapper.
All right.
And now Okolo and the Rowlett offense will take over at the 5-yard line.
Not convinced it was a fake.
Play action to Crow, and now the ball comes loose as Okolo tried to get to the outside, but the ball goes out of bounds. And a flag on the play, well away from the play. Halfway in the end zone, actually.
Maybe the deep snapper thought, since we're supposed to make it look like it's a bad snap, maybe I'm supposed to actually make it a bad snap.
It was my theory is it was supposed to be a direct snap to the fullback, and the fullback was overshot. And then the punter just looked so disgusted that play happened like that. It was almost comical to see, but it's 24-7, 5.5 to go in the fourth.
I think it was more comical to hear about this. I mean, put yourself in my shoes.
Right. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
By the way, I got one other thing to say. Isn't it funny whenever it's a defensive game, it's called a defensive struggle? Do you ever think of calling it an offensive struggle? You never hear it called an offensive struggle, but why not? How much of this is 2 offenses that are struggling instead of 2 defenses that are excelling?
All right.
You see my point?
I get your point. I do.
It's never called an offensive struggle.
Okolo rolling out to the left side, evades pressure and knocked down hard. A sack for North Garland. He's hit down at the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 25 after the unsportsmanlike conduct pushed them back.
I guarantee you the team that loses this game, which will probably be North Garland, they're going to say their offense struggled.
Right.
Okay? Rowlett's going to say their defense was great. North Garland's going to say our offense struggled. Well, and that's why we lost the game 24-7.
Well, the defense for Rowlett has been outstanding. I mean, it's, like you said, we've seen them play great defense all year long, even in blowout games.
I wouldn't say great, but competitive.
Well, they played good defense at least all year long. And we've seen some glimpses of it, especially from key players. Of course, the 2 great defensive ends. And then you've got a couple of guys in the secondary, especially Joseph Brox, and they have the talent.
It's not easy to play competitive defense when you lose 60-7 to Plano.
Right,
and yet they played competitive defense.
Exactly.
Their offense put them in holes all night long.
Rowlett will call a timeout with 4:41 on the clock in the fourth, 24-7 the score.
Our Eagles sponsors tonight: Advantage Storage, Whataburger, Ultimate Driving School, Chick-fil-A, Chiloso's Mexican Bistro, Super Shack Seafood Grill, Sign Guy DFW, First Baptist Church Rowlett, Jason's Deli, Shenanigans, Rowlett Food, Richardson Methodist Medical Center, Musgrove Agency, Jersey Mike Subs, and Jason's Deli. Thanks to our Eagles sponsors.
Out of the timeout with 4:41 on the clock, 24-7, a 17-point lead for the Rowlett Eagles in search of their second win of the season and second district win to tie up their district record 2-2. Two receivers on either side, stacked at the numbers on both sides of the field. Okolo, man moved up front. Going to be a false start on Rowlett on a 3rd and goal from the 25-yard line. Will now be a 3rd and goal from the 30.
We got another very late flag, some kind of unsportsman stuff. You don't see a lot of 3rd and goals from the 20 or from the 30.
And now it looks like it might be even further than that with a flag coming in. Oh, this one's on North Garland. Unsportsmanlike conduct, but they offsetting penalties. 4:41 still, 24-7 Rowlett over North Garland. 1st and goal from the 30-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 30-yard line. Two receivers on either side. Okolo in the shotgun. Crow to the right of him. Awaits to snap. Takes it. Looks down the field to the right side. Fires up the seam and intercepted. Intercepted at the 20-yard line. Diving, twisting interception by the big linebacker Ivan Garcia, the 6', 235-pound senior for North Garland, and a turnover. First interception of the game for James Okolo. And North Garland will take over. It was a drive that started for Rowlett at the 5-yard line of North Garland. 1st and goal from that 5, and then penalties pushed them back all the way to the 30 and ultimately an interception at the 20-yard line. And now God's Power Hawaii will take over for North Garland. Trips to the right side. He takes the snap, drops back, looks down the field, sets his feet to the right side, on the move to the right side. Outside the numbers, tosses it out of bounds. Incomplete. He just threw that one away. But it looked like he had a receiver past the 30-yard line wide open, but elected to throw it away. It's 2nd and 10. 4:28 on the clock, 24-7, a 17-point lead for Rowlett. Other than their one win against South Garland, Scott Powell mentioned it is the first time we've seen Rowlett leading in the second half of a ball game. On our broadcast, we weren't able to broadcast the Waxahachie game week 1, but from Plano game week 2 and on, the only time they led was against South Garland. This time, North Garland up 17 points. Hands this one off to the right side. No, quarterback keeper to the right side, past the numbers, gets the first down. Is Hawaii knocked down at the 36-yard line. A first down for North Garland with 4:20 on the clock. One of the bigger runs of the day for this North Garland offense comes from God's Power Hawaii after a quarterback keeper. Now trips to the left side from the right hash mark, going right to left, approaching 4 minutes to play. Hawaii drops back. Here comes the pressure from Rowlett. A jump ball all alone to the right side, and at the first down marker, he caught it. It was Isaiah DeLeon, and a first down on back-to-back plays for North Garland. The Raiders moving under 4 minutes to play. 24-7, 17-point lead for the Eagles. Hawaii talks to his offense, gets set, trips to the left side, one receiver to the right side. Davis to the right of Hawaii. Looks right, looks left, pump fake, fires left, has a man, got to the 40-yard line. That's Taylor. Taylor making men miss, diving around past the 45 and inside Rowlett territory. knocked out or stopped at the 42.
Davis did all he could to get out of bounds, but Rowlett kept him in bounds just barely to keep that clock. Well, now it looks like, they stopped it for the first down, not because he got out of bounds. Now they'll restart it.
3 plays in a row that North Garland has had a first down. A smart play by Rowlett, though, to keep him from going out of bounds, and a timeout on the field. Rowlett calls the timeout. Coach Derek Alford. And we'll take a timeout with him. Quick 30. 3:31 on the clock, 24-7 on 92.1 FM, KXEZ. Back on 92.1 FM, KXEZ. Ethan Urra here with Scott Powell. Thanks for joining us. 3:31 on the clock in the fourth. 24-7. Rowlett with a 17-point lead over the North Garland Raiders. We talked all game long about the playoff implications really to this game and how it'll help them down the road. And now Nawai takes the snap, drops back. Here comes the pressure. Rolls out to the right side, fires to the right side. Caught at the 33-yard line, off to the left side. Diving around, dodging tacklers, and finally brought down. But forward progress will get him to the 34-yard line. On that catch and run was the speedster, DeCoris Taylor.
Yeah, with this win today, Rowlett would be all alone or tied for fourth place instead of in sixth place. They'd have the tiebreaker on North Garland if they ended up in a tie with them. They would lose the tiebreaker with Wiley. So if they end up tied with Wiley, they also need to be tied with somebody else like North Garland since they're going to beat North Garland. Here's an interception.
Hawaii fires across the middle. It is intercepted by Jaden Ellis. Takes the return all the way to the 30-yard line. He intercepted it at the 15. Took it 15 yards down to the far sideline across the numbers. And another turnover for this Rowlett defense. But there's a downed Raider near the 30-yard line for North Garland on the far side of the field in front of the Rowlett sideline.
Rowlett still has to play Lakeview, and I'm already saying that they have to beat Lakeview. But if they beat Lakeview, they do not have to beat Naaman Forest and Garland to make the playoffs. And with this win, they don't need a ton of help to get in going 1-2. But they do need, with this win tonight, they do need 1 to 2 losses out of Wiley, which is conceivable. Wiley has a tough schedule left. And they could do it with just one win and losing to Garland and Naaman Forest. They could get in with a 3-4 record, in other words, but they need a little bit of help from Wiley mainly to do that. Well, but at 2-1, if they could somehow beat Naaman Forest, which makes that a big game next week, if they somehow beat Naaman Forest, then their chances have greatly increased.
Well, Lakeview is beating South Garland right now 60-13. I did see a Wiley score up here.
That was last night.
Right.
Beating, or they lost to Naaman last night.
42-21 was that score. And now Okola and the Rowlett offense will come out on the field from the 30-yard line, the 31. Handoff to Johnson. The ball is on the ground, and now it is scooped up by the Rowlett offense.
Well, that's the last thing you need, to give up an easy score and make things interesting, but they did fall on it. And now they can let that clock continue to run. Rowlett's out of timeouts. They don't really need them. North Garland's got 2 left. You just have to avoid disaster, and disaster almost hit there. Even still, they have a 17-point lead. Rowlett does.
From the 22-yard line, it'll bring up a 2nd and 18 on the play. Dual halfback set now for Okolo in the Rowlett offense, and a flag comes in. False start. Even though they're up 17 points, Coach Derek Alford's not going to like all these penalties like this, especially in this garbage time like this, like they like to call it. 14 penalties for 116 yards for Rowlett tonight. Okolo hands this one off to the right side, dancing around. It's in a host and brought down at the 15-yard line.
Penalty, it's either going to be a face mask or a hold. Holding.
After the interception by Donovan Moore, actually it was Jaden Ellis that got him to the 31-yard line. This pushes him all the way back inside the 10.
Well, we mentioned one more time, go through the rest of the weekend and next week. We got the Aggies tomorrow as we are your Metroplex home for A&M football and men's basketball. They'll play at Missouri with an 11 a.m. kickoff, 10 o'clock pregame right here on KXEZ. And then we've got Rowlett again next Thursday, a quick turnaround. They'll play right here at Williams against Naaman Forest. We've mentioned the significance of that game now after winning here tonight, so hopefully they'll come out and maybe win that one next week.
Okolo hands this one off to Julius Inhouse, who has a hole past the 10-yard line, past the 15, and the sophomore. Nice gain on the play to the 19-yard line, although it's not even close to even the original line of scrimmage. Will bring up 4th down and long.
Derek Alford Coach's Show will kick us off at 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff next Thursday against Naaman Forest right here on KXEZ. And then we'll have Caddo Mills a week from tonight, 7:30 kickoff, 7:15 pregame against Community next Friday night.
My mistake. It wasn't 4th down. It's 3rd down now.
Which means the clock is able to continue to run. North Garland has 2 timeouts. They're not using them, which I find, well, slightly interesting. They're down by 17. I guess they see the inevitable.
And this will end up being a huge win for Rowlett and for Coach Derek Alford. Be his 2nd win of his career with Rowlett, the new head coach in his first year with the Eagles. Hand off to Crow, who bounces around a huge stiff arm at the 25-yard line down to the 26. And that will just about do it here. But I say that. And now whistles blow. It looks like it might be a timeout.
Now they use the timeout. I don't understand that. Oh, I see a marker, don't I, or not?
I thought I did as well. I do at the 25-yard line.
I'm not sure they've gone 2 plays without a penalty flag all night, so why start now?
Personal foul on North Garland.
I guess they kind of had to call the personal foul.
That'll bring them up 15 yards. And now the clock rolls, and that...
I guess both teams have decided that's it as they walk off the field.
That'll be the ball game. Rowlett, the Eagles, improve to 2-5 overall and 2-2 in district play. Get their 2nd win of the season, and they're still in the playoff hunt. Big game defensively for the Rowlett Eagles as they take down North Garland 24-7.
You know, we've always said defense was kind of the strength of this team, and I think tonight they went out and won a football game.
Absolutely.
Because while the offense had 2 first downs in the first half, they kept the game scoreless at 0-0 before the offense came out and took charge in the second half, although jump-starting it was the interception return on the first play of the second half, wasn't it?
Michael Ibukun Okeoti, first play of the second half, like you mentioned, Scott, really sparked this entire team and really the whole side for Rowlett and the spectators over there in the stands. They got behind their team and really pushed them to a 17-point victory over a team that lost, put up, I mentioned multiple times, 34 points on a Saxby team who's 2nd in the district.
Sometimes your defense has to win one for you, and tonight I think they did.
So Derek Alford will be extremely happy for that, and so will the Rowlett faithfuls. Real quick, 209 yards of total offense for Rowlett to 175 for North Garland. Okolo ends the game 10 for 20 on 98 yards, 83 yards for Devontae Crow on 9 carries, just over 9 per attempt, and 2 touchdowns. The defense was fantastic for Rowlett, and they're they're back home next week, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're here.
They are back here next week against Naaman Forest.
Hometown.
Yeah, exactly.
There really is not much home and home around these parts.
And that's it from Williams Stadium in Garland. For Ethan Brooks, our broadcast engineer, back in the KXEZ studio for Scott Powell, I'm Ethan Herrera saying good night from Williams Stadium.